What's up, everybody? Good morning and happy Tuesday. DK Show coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk Studios this morning. Thanks for waking up and making us a part of your start, whether you are listening on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM, streaming us up online at WYYradio.com, sportstalk1051.com. You've got your smart devices, smart speakers like your Alexa devices, video stream also up and rolling on YouTube here this morning. Maybe you haven't gone to sleep yet after last night's Brewers game, or maybe you're just riding like an hour, a couple hours of sleep here. But whatever the case may be, thanks for making this a part of your start, even if you are lacking a little bit of sleep after last night's Brewers' crazy win. 15-14 victory over the Athletics in Las Vegas. The ball was flying last night. 11 home runs total, 4 of them coming from the Brew Crew. Pat Murphy calling it the craziest game that he's been a part of at the major league level, but it was a late one. It was a late one. You might have to brew some extra coffee here this morning to kind of get things going here. But, man, I don't even know where to kind of begin from last night's game. Kyle Harrison, he only went 2 1/3. He gave up 8 earned runs. There was a couple of instances, too. You had some errors, Rengifo. You had Joey Ortiz bobbling with the bases loaded. But it was, one word or a phrase to describe last night's game. Nuts, crazy. That's kind of where I'm at right now this morning, trying to still digest staying up that late to watch that game and follow that game. But biggest thing, though, is Brew Crew do pick up the win. So used up quite a bit of pitchers yesterday, so we'll see how the rest of the series goes here. But the game was in Las Vegas, the minor league park that the Athletics play in, and boy, that ball carry out there! Holy moly! It made Coors Field, made Colorado look like a pitching park, for crying out loud. I mean, there was one home run by the Athletics there that everybody thought was just kind of a fly ball. Papa. I think it was in the 10th inning, if memory serves me correct, off of Ashby. And everybody Jeff Levering on the radio call kind of insinuated, fly ball to right field. Ashby, Contreras thought it was going to be easy out, and just drifted out there. It was like 90 miles an hour off the bat, or not even. I mean, it was jet stream or something going on in that field. But, man, that is a hitter's park. Woo. AAA, if you play AAA games over there, you got to be if you're an offensive player, you're a position player, you got to absolutely love playing in that park. But lots to go through from last night's game. You look at Yelly with a couple of hits. Chirio collected 3 hits. Terang, Contreras, Bowers continuing his awesome start to the season. Vaughn had an awesome night. 4 hits, including a home run and a couple of doubles. But it was 7, 8, 9 hitters. Only not a ton of production. Ortiz actually had the most production. 2 hits between 7, 8, 9 hitters, and they all came from Joey Ortiz. The others, Rengifo and Mitchell, not getting a hit in last night's game. So, but we'll talk plenty of baseball, talk plenty of Brewers. Looking back at last night's game. Oh, man. Excuse me. I'm looking ahead to Game 2 tonight. Get to do it again. So, hopefully that one doesn't go as long as last night. So, what else do we got on the docket for us this morning? We're going to catch up with right, Mark, is that game over yet? I don't know. I think they just left the ballpark probably. But we're going to catch up with RJ Cardinal in a couple hours from now. and talk some college sports. And obviously the big thing in college sports right now is, and it happened towards the end of our program yesterday, but the whole Texas Tech and Brendan Sorsby story issue. So a court or a judge yesterday ruled that Brendan Sorsby is eligible to play in college football right now. I mean, this is Brendan Sorsby, who admitted and gambling and betting on sports and such. And the decision by this judge to make Brendan eligible has just, I would say, flipped the college football landscape on its heads. I mean, you've got conferences now, and one of them being the Big Ten, reportedly considering saying we are not scheduling games against Texas Tech. Big Ten officials, according to ESPN, are expected to discuss in the upcoming days a league-wide mandate to not schedule Texas Tech in any sports in the regular season. That came in the wake of Nebraska telling ESPN that their school's teams are not allowed to schedule the Red Raiders. I mean, it's every conference. It seems like it's how many athletic directors out there. It is. I can tell you right now, this is going to be a part of my Toys of Ford grind my gears coming up here. I mean, the NCAA has gone through a lot over the years and questions and that, and now it's just like what do you do? I mean, there's so much to go through this, and again, we'll talk to RJ about this too, especially how it relates to Big Ten with Big Ten contemplating on not scheduling Texas Tech. And if anybody's kind of wondering why wouldn't they schedule Texas Tech with that? Well, I mean, you can't really trust. Yes, Brandon is going, and seeking some help and such. But what if it comes to, all right, there's betting going on during their games and all that stuff. So it's like, how can you, as Sonny Dykes, head coach at TCU, said, how is anyone ever going to trust the outcome of a game? And that's kind of where the core of it all is. Just, like, why? What are we doing? You know what I mean? So, but, all right. So we'll talk about that with Mr. RJ Cardinal coming up a little after 8 o'clock here this morning. We'll continue our top 250 countdown in the world of, or I should say in the history of American sports. So we've officially gotten under 200, and we're going to knock off another 10 today. So after today, we'll be down to 180 as we approach America's birthday. So another 10 names, teams, moments, plays, all that stuff will be marked off on our list. We'll probably do that next hour, so we'll hit that up too. Last night's NBA Finals. See, you think about yawning and you yawn again. Man alive. NBA Finals, Spurs picking up a Game 3 victory in New York in a very crucial Game 3 for the Spurs. So at least extending the series a little bit more. But we got Stanley Cup going on tonight in a pivotal Game 4. Vegas is up 2-1 in that series. So, but we'll throw a little bit of chat on that. It is also I'm not saying, but I'm just saying Tuesday. So give me your best. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. All right. You can text those on over to the Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912 or hang out on the Section 105 chat room. Locally, the Express falling last night to Wilmer, but they'll wrap up that series on the road tonight against Wilmer, and then we'll return home to Carson Park to begin a 2-game series against Bismarck. And reminder, Thursday, we'll do a little tailgate Thursday. We're going to be over there with the Mobile Man Cave at about 5:30. So anybody want to go? I've got some tickets. I'm holding on to them right now. You got to stop by the station to grab some. Just let me know if you'd like some, and I'll leave some out front for you, all right? For Thursday's game only. Okay, but also best of luck. We got to give some best of luck because we've got sectional high school baseball going on today. So best of luck to teams that are in action here today. I know like Eau Claire Emmanuel Lutheran's going to be in action. So just best of luck. Oh, Mountain Falkirk, all the teams that are still in action. Best of luck today, and at least for this week, weather-wise, maybe lucking out here. Although I know they're talking a little bit of rain towards the evening hours, but hopefully everything kind of plays out here. But best of luck to all of our high school teams who are in action for sectionals today. So, but all right, let's get things going here this morning, shall we? We'll get the lead off going here. We gotta recap that Brewers game from last night in case maybe you didn't stay up or listen and watch the entire game. A crazy game yesterday. A lot of scoring. If you like offensive baseball, you probably liked that game last night. We'll hear a little bit from Pat Murphy recapping and his thoughts from the game last night too. So let's take our first break, and then we will get things going here with the leadoff. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Looking for the perfect summer hangout? Well, then you need to make your way on over to the VFW Post 305 in Eau Claire. You can enjoy the beautiful views overlooking the river, some great food, some cold beverages, and some of the best live local music that you will find anywhere in the Chippewa Valley. So whether you're meeting some friends after work or spending some summer evenings outdoors, the VFW Post 305 is the place to be. Great views, great music, great times. That's the VFW Post 305. And don't forget about their Father's Day brunch going on, too. And from now up until Father's Day, if you purchase a breakfast at the VFW Post 305, you'll be entered to win a Father's Day gift basket. So, all right. Lead off this morning. Brewers. Late one, 15-14 victory, though. Picking up their 41st win on the season to improve to 41-23. Let's go through the numbers here quick. Kyle Harrison only going 2 1/3, giving up 8 hits, 8 earned runs, striking out 4, 3 home runs, and a couple of walks. Anderson comes in and does well after that, just going 2 2/3, but doesn't give up a hit, issuing just 1 walk. Aaron Ashby coming in, an inning and 2/3. He gave up 3 earned runs, including a couple of dingers. But Uribe with the win, and then Chad Patrick picking up the save in last night's game. But offensively, you had Yelich, 7 at-bats, couple of hits for him. Jackson Chirio, 3 hits. Terang picking up a hit, which was a home run. You had Vaughn, had a really good night from the plate. 4 hits, couple doubles, including a home run. Contreras with that home run late to add to his 3 hits from last night, boosting his average to 290 and a 756 OPS. And then Bowers with a couple hits, including a home run, moving up his average 286 and his OPS up to a 912. But there were 52 total at-bats for the Brewers last night, 18 total hits in those 15 runs, and it was a come-from-behind game for the Crew, having to put up those 2 runs in the 9th to force extras, and then Brewers putting up 4 in the top of the 10th, thinking that's going to be enough, and nope. Athletics put up 4 to tie it. And then, of course, no scoring in the 11th, because why would you do that? Brewers putting up a run in the 12th and holding on thanks to Chad Patrick there. Let's hear from Pat Murphy. What did he have to say about last night's game? And Pat Murphy's been around baseball for a while. This is audio courtesy from Todd Rosiak.
A game like that, what do you even think about what you saw tonight in this ballpark?
Yeah, the most bizarre game I've ever had in Major League Baseball in 11 years. Never saw anything like it. I mean, so many things happened. There was 16 challenges in the game. 16 challenges in the game. I never seen anything like it, you know. And then have a ball 94 miles an hour, 40 ball out of the park. You know, it's a very offensive. You got to credit the Oakland A's for what they did, down 4 in the 10th, and to score and tie it. But you got to credit our guys, Uribe and Patrick, for what they did at the end. Kunal's first outing was great, you know, for the most part, and so many guys contributed. But offensively, you know, 1 through 6 were incredible. Yelly's base running, you know, Terang's homer, Williams homer, Bowers homer, Vaughn homer and 2 doubles. But then 7, 8, 9 didn't give us much today. 2 for 16 is what I've been told. 2 for 16 with 10 Ks. And the guy that got the 2 hits, Ortiz, was out of the game. So yeah, there's so many ups and downs of it. But you know, you really got to credit, you know, our guys for hanging in there, and the job that Uribe and Patrick did to throw up zeros is very unusual in extra inning baseball. So.
Murph, you can't obviously count anything from not happening in this game, but you go up 14-10. William hits that home run. How good are you feeling at that point? Do you feel like
you got Ashby on the mound throwing the ball great?
Yeah.
And then the ball Kurtz hit up and in 99. Check the tape, man. He could know it was coming, and to hit that ball up and in at 99, it shows you how brilliant that guy is and what a future he has. That's scary. I mean, I may never pitch to him again. That was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, you got to credit them what they did, and yeah. Usually the visiting team doesn't win this one.
Oh.
Murph, with all the way the ball flies and how hard the infield looked, do you even take anything away from Harrison's start? What do you judge?
Yeah, I mean,
from tonight?
we made 2 defensive miscues. Rengifo lost the ball in the lights, and Ortiz muffed the ball, the bases loaded, no outs. There's double play ball, or at least there's 3 outs right there. So that inning would have never happened. So I think Harrison threw the ball good. You know, the home run is a home run. You know, I mean, in this ballpark today. But I think that home run, Langanier's home run, was earned. I mean, that was a bomb. The other home run he gave up, was earned. But yeah, I think he would have had a good outing. This is a tough place to pitch.
Murph, obviously Chad did a great job there to finish it out. Was McGill down tonight? Is that why?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is anything okay? Is everything okay with him?
Well, we're just, he felt a little discomfort, so we'll figure it out here.
Murph, you have 2 more games here, and with all the pitching you used today, is it a little, some daunt?
Some daunt. All hands on deck. These games are all important, every one of them. Every one of the 162 is important. And special win for those people in the Midwest and the East Coast that they stayed up. That's pretty special.
Murph, you
Thank
said
you
this
for
is,
staying up.
Sorry, you said this is the craziest game that you can remember in the major leagues, being coach or manager.
Yeah.
You coached a lot of baseball over the years at all many different levels. Well, can you think of where this one might have ranked in terms of like all the other games you've ever been a part of?
It's just bizarre. It's not unusual for games with the runner at second base to go back and forth in a 3 spot. We just had one the other day. Who was that against? Colorado, last week. So back and forth. So that's not that unusual. But to score 4 when you got 2 outs, that's 2 outs and 2 strikes.
Yeah.
Or I guess Langanier's got the hit before that, but then 2 outs, 2 strikes, man, boom, homer. So yeah, I mean, amazing. Happy for our guys that they're that resilient.
All right, again, that's audio courtesy from Todd Rosiak, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, Pat Murphy, talking a little bit about the game from last night. And one little nugget there, too, that he did share is Trevor McGill apparently feeling a little discomfort. If you watched the video of Pat Murphy kind of talking, I don't want to say, something. He just had a look on his face of maybe a little bit of concern, a little bit of unknownness. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. But, man, that bullpen now in the last few days has really taken some hits with the injuries and all that. And I don't know if there's going to be any corresponding moves to help bolster that pen, get some fresher arms in there and that. But something to definitely monitor. And I think that off day that's coming up here on Thursday, they definitely need it just to get some R&R, especially with the upcoming schedule. Not to look ahead and to overlook the Athletics. By the way, even Pat Murphy calls them the Oakland Athletics still. So, but taking a look at the upcoming schedule, obviously with the Phillies coming to town, and then you got the Cubs coming up a little bit later on. It's going to be a tough schedule, and hopefully that bullpen can get some rest. Hopefully this pitching staff can get some rest here too. And you look at Robert Gasser, who's going to get to start tonight, and we'll kind of take a look at that here in just a little bit. Man, they're going to need him to maybe eat up some innings for the Crew tonight. But this was a ballpark too with and the Brewers had just acquired a bullpen guy from the A's. Kettle, and he told the team, be cautious, the ball flies. And well, ding ding ding, yeah, he couldn't have summed it up even better. But man, it was just of course it had to happen towards the West Coast too, a late game just to make it a little bit longer with the outcome. But it isn't a for sure thing, but it feels like in sports and it feels like in baseball, you know what's probably going to happen today? It's probably going to be a very low scoring game for tonight's game. It's going to be one of those things. Probably doubtful considering the park that they're playing in, but would it surprise anybody if that were the case? So, Brewers.com. So, tell you what, I got to take a quick break here. And some fun facts here about last night's game. And this is from Brewers.com that posted this up last night here, too. So, we'll take a look at that and then preview tonight's matchup for Game 2 of this series between the Brewers and the Athletics. We've got Robert Gasser on the mound here for the Crew, and the Crew would love nothing more than to get some innings from Roberts. On the other side, you got JT Ginn going for the Athletics. So we'll preview Game 2 coming up after these quick words. Summer is here, and that means it is the perfect time to give your home a fresh new look with Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Whether you are updating a family room, finishing a basement, refreshing a bedroom, or finally tackling that remodeling project you've been putting off, Carpet City Flooring Center has the flooring options that you are looking for. From beautiful luxury vinyl planks to carpet, tile, and more, you will find quality products and expert guidance every single step of the way. Their experienced team will help you find the right flooring to fit your style, your budget, your lifestyle. And with professional installation available, your project can be completed quickly and correctly. Make this summer the summer that you transform your home. Stop on into Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire today and discover why so many area homeowners, including myself, trust Carpet City Flooring Center for all of their flooring needs. Carpet City Flooring Center, helping you love where you live. So the Brewers are going to have some tired arms. Well, the A's too, because in Monday's game, they each team used 7 pitchers, 14 hurlers combined to throw 441 pitches. It was a season high, surpassing 432 pitches thrown in the 13-inning Rays and Pirates contest on April 18th at PNC Park. Including the postseason, this is, again, some fun facts from Brewers.com. The most recent game with more was an 18-inning Game 3 of the 2025 World Series. The previous regular season, that had 609 pitches, by the way. The previous regular season game with more was April 24th, 2025. Rockies-Giants game, 447, which 11 innings. The A's alone threw 238 pitches, the most by a single team in a regular season game since the A's on March 31st against the Cubs at 246. 16 challenges you heard Pat Murphy say in that audio clip, too. Combined 16 ABS challenges, shattering the previous record of 12 since ABS came to the major leagues beginning this season. The A's were also involved in one of the 2 games with 12 combined challenges, their home contest against the Cardinals on May 14th. Brewers went 5 for 7 on their challenges, while the A's were 6 of 9. Despite losing their second challenge in the bottom of the ninth, they received another for each extra inning and lost a third in the 12th. So, just a couple of fun facts from last night's bizarre game, wild game, crazy game, whatever the heck we're going to be calling it here. So, but Brewers definitely hoping that maybe Robert Gasser can give them some length and got to help out that bullpen. And Robert's coming off of, even though he got the loss against the Giants back on the 3rd, I think it's safe to say that was probably his best outing so far this season, and he kind of got the vintage or the Pat Murphy saying, "Hey, gotta do better, gotta pitch better, gotta be a little bit better, especially cut down on the walks and that." And for the most part, did that. I mean, he went 5 innings, 5 hits, but just 1 earned run, struck out 5, and issued 1 walk. But yeah, they're really hoping that they could get some length out of him and keep that pitch count low and maybe at least just get through 6. Ideally, it'd be 7 innings, you'd think, but let's maybe put the base at 6 if you can just get to that point here. On the flip side, you've got JT Gedd going for the Athletics, who is in 14 games. He has started 11, 3-3. JT has a 2.74 ERA this season, but maybe with this park, that ERAs don't matter for any pitcher. But JT, his latest appearance on the 4th against the Cubbies, he went 6 strong innings, only giving up 2 hits, 1 earned run, which was a home run, and struck out 8. In the month of May, 6 games started. He was 3-3 with a 2.60 ERA. April, played in 6 games, started 4 of those, had a 3.80 ERA. He's been a solid pitcher. JT's been a solid pitcher all season long, but if that ballpark, like we saw last night, is that ball is going to carry as much as it did, you could throw ERAs out the window. You could throw them out. I don't think that's going to matter. I almost kind of want to see Jacob Misiorowski pitch in that park and maybe give him a little. It's not happening, but just curious to see what Jacob Misiorowski could do, and for not necessarily what Jacob Misiorowski could do, I guess, but what players could do against somebody who throws as hard as Jacob Misiorowski in a very, very hitting friendly minor league ballpark. But Brewers, yeah, they're going to have their hands full for the next 2 games. There's no question about it. And when you look at, the 10th, they're probably thinking, hey, let's get out of here. Let's get to our opening day or not opening day, our off day, and then, get back home and get in our bed. The TBD for the Crew tomorrow, man, a lot of it's going to depend on today and how many pitchers they're going to have to use. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some transactions, some more call-ups, and getting some fresher arms up to kind of just get through these next 2 games. Hate to have that mindset, but that's kind of where it's at. And like Pat Murphy, they go with the approach. Every single game is important. All 162 games are important. That's the mindset that they have. Now, do lineups and all that kind of all the time kind of signify that or indicate that? No, you do have to manage wear and tear, health, rest, and all that good stuff too. But it'll be interesting to see how the Brewers, with some of their injuries to their pitching staff, to their bullpen, and with a lot of innings logged on these guys, how or what are the moves or who are they going to bring in to kind of refreshen that group and make sure that they're ready to go, because not to look too far ahead again, you've got some tough games coming up here. And you want to make sure that your pitching staff, that your bullpen is going to be good to go as much as they can go. I mean, after the Phillies, you've got the Guardians. You got the Braves. All right? After this series with the Athletics, it's Phillies, Guardians, and Braves. We know what the Braves and the Phillies could do offensively. The Guardians are a first-place team. Those are going to be tough matchups. And if your pitching staff's a little worn down and a little banged up, you're putting more pressure on this offense that we know does not hit home runs. They can score runs. That's for sure. That's a given. But they can't hit those home runs. So you're putting a little bit more pressure on that offense to maybe put up some more crooked numbers to help out that pitching staff. And then after the Braves, you got 2 series against the Reds, and then you throw the Cubs in there, and the Cubs would love nothing more when they come into Milwaukee to take that series and enact a little revenge against the Crew. So most important thing is getting this series win against the Athletics, but right behind that, it's going to have to be some health and some fresh arms for the next few weeks to finish off this month of June, because it is going to be tough for this Crew. First pitch for tonight's game, 9:05 again. Coverage will begin at 8:30 on your radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM. All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll start to wrap up the first hour. Put on that second pot of coffee. You're going to need it for today, to get through today. If you can, maybe try to take a little bit of a nap. I won't be able to today, so it's going to be a rough couple days, couple mornings here. Stayed up and watching these. Hopefully tonight's game, just a couple hours. Let's get through this one fairly quick tonight to kind of catch up. But, man, all right. At least we got a win, though. It's like it's those games. It's like the Packers-Cowboys game last year on Sunday night. You go to overtime and you still end in a tie. I was like, what? At least the Brewers got the win last night, this morning. Then that makes it a little bit better with games like that and early risers. So, all right, quick break, but we'll be back to wrap up the first hour after these quick words. Believe it or not, hunting season preparation starts right now, and there is no better place to gear up than Tilden Gun in Chippewa Falls. Whether you are looking to upgrade your deer rifle, pick up a new turkey gun, or add a dependable shotgun for traps, sporting clays, or target shooting, Tilden Gun has a wide selection of firearms from the brands that you know and trust. Their knowledgeable staff can help you find the perfect fit for your hunting style, experience level, and budget. Plus, you'll find ammunition, accessories, optics, and more to help you get the most out of every trip to the range or into the field. Don't wait until the season is right around the corner. Get prepared now and shoot with the confidence later. Stop by Tilden Gun in Chippewa Falls and see why sportsmen and shooting enthusiasts throughout the Chippewa Valley trust Tilden Gun for all of their firearm needs. Coming up next hour, we'll continue our 250 countdown. America's 250th anniversary. Are we calling it birthday or anniversary? I've heard both, so I've just been randomly throwing in anniversary or birthday. I don't know if it's officially one or not, but anyways, we'll continue our top 250 countdown. America, sports moments, people, games, plays. We got another group of 10 coming your way. We're going to talk about this Texas Tech and issue and the trickle down effect in the world of college sports coming up a little bit later on here too. Especially when we get to RJ Cardinal. Speaking of the Brewers, so if you've been to American Family Field this year, you've noticed some construction outside the right field corner. And I noticed it when I was there for a game. And it honestly, at that time, and people were kind of talking about it, it looked like a mini golf course. I'm like, okay, I know they were going to do some stuff and build some stuff around it to, families and stuff, kind of like a Titletown district, but that's not the case. They are building a premium club for the start of the 2027 season. The Trust Club, named for the supports of the stadium's signature roof and built from green tinted brick to match, will be a high-end, all-inclusive gathering space for season seat holders in the 375 most desirable seats in the ballpark. They will fill the 6 rows behind home plate, including 1 new row of seats to be added on what is now the warning track. Adding another seat behind in the front row there. So there's a couple of different projects here. Inside the ballpark, the Brewers will install padded 23 or 24-inch seats from dugout to dugout in the first 6 rows, making them the widest seats in the ballpark. If you have a ticket for one of those seats, you will also get access to the other new space, the Trust Club, which is a 20,000 square foot building already under construction on the southwest side of American Family Field. When finished, it will open onto the field level concourse of the ballpark. There is no membership or initiation fees, but those tickets are only available as part of half-season and full-season ticket packages. Pricing starts at $245 per game, inclusive of everything, a ticket, parking, food, and beverage. On game day, the club will open 30 minutes before other stadium gates, offering a different level of all-inclusive than the Brewers have ever had before. So why this? What is this? Well, in the 25 years since the stadium, in the last 25 years, so the Brewers and the Stadium District have kept the building fresh with continuous changes and additions, from group entertainment spaces throughout the building to scoreboard replacements, massive concessions overhaul in 2017, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But what the stadium always lacked is a premium area tied to the seats behind home plate. And that made the Brewers an outlier. The only other Major League Baseball team without one is the A's, and that will change in their new ballpark in Las Vegas in 2028. So that's something new that's going to happen. Anybody wondering how will it impact gameplay by moving in or adding some seats? The Brewers, they did a study to determine how many pop-ups would fall into the new first row behind the netting for a foul ball instead of settling into the catcher's glove. because the foul ground will shrink by only 3 to 4 feet from dugout to dugout, the number was small. So that's going to be, I mean, when I first saw that, okay, that was a little bit like, all right, that's kind of interesting. But then you think about it when they said all these other stadiums have it, then you kind of think, oh, yeah, I remember seeing something like that on TV. Obviously, the one that really pops out is the Yankees one, I think, but that one is because prices are so exuberant and such. But, yeah. In addition, it says the Brewers are also building a permanent multi-level food and beverage complex on that part of the plaza that will open in 2027. And think of it, Brewers officials say, as a tailgating space for fans who don't want to go through the hassle of packing a cooler and a grill. So, all right. We'll talk more about this coming up a little bit later on. We'll say good morning to Morgan. Good morning, Morgan.
Hey, Kasper. I see you got a stack of cards in here. What are you doing?
Well, those have been here for a while.
What are they for?
I'll just open up some packs.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you still get the thrill of opening up a pack of...
I don't get to open packs because Hudson does it all the time. So.
Do you think there, as an adult, though, do you still get excited to see what he rips into? Like, there's still a little bit of a thrill involved in it.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So I have a couple of Tuesday Tussle questions for you. Think about generational things like that. Like in our day, we would say summer vacation was about riding bike. I was outside all day long, opening a pack of baseball cards, those little simple pleasures. Would you consider social media influencers legitimate celebrities?
No.
Why not?
Because I'm old.
Is that it, though?
Yeah.
The divide there? Because look at who Hudson looks up to. Is it mostly social influence online type people?
Besides sports.
Okay, so then on that note,
But he knows all these people.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's like a very normal point of access for them.
Like
to
when
get
we watch
information.
celebrity basketball games, like for All-Star Weekend, I'm like, who is that?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, they're an influencer. Excuse me?
Now, do you think influencer is like in 20 years, we're going to look back and be like, remember when influencers were everywhere? Or do you think this is the new way forged?
I think it's a new way.
Do you have any influencers that you personally actually admit to watching and liking?
Maybe not to the level of like that, but like there's pages. There's a guy called Coach Ballgame,
Okay.
who for youth baseball and such, like I would consider him an influencer. He's awesome just because, being the youth coach, just to kind of get ideas and stuff like that.
So things that you can pull ideas of and then fold into your own life.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so then as a general rule, sort of adjacent to that conversation, do you think sports figures, professional athletes, are paid too much as a rule? I'm not talking like Ohtani, stuff that's just outrageous. I'm talking about as a rule. Or do you think because we've built that celebrity status into them, part of that is this giant salary that we're accustomed to hearing about?
I don't think they're getting paid too much because obviously the owners are okay. They're not hurting for money too, and they're getting,
So you think within the context of the situation, it's fair?
Yeah.
So if you had to pick one or two athletes that you would say, given the situation that they're in, they are overpaid, who would you pick?
Overpaid?
Overpaid. Because we know they're making a lot of money, no doubt. That's just assumed. But who's overpaid right now in the sports world?
Honestly, I'll say that. Can I go a different route besides athletes, but they're in the sports world?
Okay, but it has to be sports. It can't be like
sport.
actors that we all.
No. I'd say like some of the NFL announcers.
Okay.
Like
What do they
Troy
make?
Aikman, and they make like $30 million. Tom Brady makes like $30 million.
What about like somebody like Strahan who shows up and wears a nice suit and he's
He's probably got like $20-some million.
Okay,
too.
see, I didn't realize they were pulling in that much money.
Yeah.
Now, you know why, though? You're just jelly. You want that gig.
Well,
Because who wouldn't want to get
and
paid?
then Brady's got all that. He gets paid that. He can't even go to the meetings and all that stuff. So production meetings.
And he just has new coconut water out.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right, second hour, kicking off right now on this Tuesday morning of June 9th. Thanks for making us a part of your start. If you are up and at it already, and especially if you were like some of us who were up late last night with that Brewers game, that long Brewers game. But, hey, made it better with the win. We got to stay up late for something like that and not get a lot of Z's. At least they came away with the W. So we'll talk more Brewers, plenty more baseball talk coming your way here this morning. So what else do we have on the docket? Coming up here in just a little bit, we're going to continue our top 250. Top 250 sports moments, players, athletes, coaches, games, plays, teams, all that stuff. Can't tell the history of sports in America without mentioning these. And we'll knock out another 10 coming your way here in just a little bit. We'll talk some college sports and the craziness right now that is college football. This story with Texas Tech and their quarterback. I mean, it's been a story here for the last few weeks, couple months and such, and it took another turn yesterday. So Brendan Sorsby, the Texas Tech quarterback, who was ruled ineligible because, I mean, he admitted to thousands of bets on sports. And NCAA ruled him ineligible, which, no shocker, right? But yesterday, a judge made him eligible. And the college sports world is not happy. Not happy. And I don't think a lot of fans are either. And I can kind of tell you that's going to be my grind my gears, my Toyson Ford grind my gears coming up here in just a little bit. But we're going to talk to RJ Cardinal about this because there is a Big Ten portion related to this. According to ESPN, Big Ten officials are expected to discuss in the upcoming days a league-wide mandate to not schedule Texas Tech in any sports in the regular season. That came in the wake of Nebraska telling ESPN that their schools, their teams are not allowed to schedule the Red Raiders. So maybe this is the rest of the college universities, teams out there, their way of maybe forcing Texas Tech into a decision like, okay, yeah, we're not going to make him eligible to play in that if they're not going to have anybody to play against. But, yeah, we'll talk to RJ about it coming up in a little bit. But if that is your grind my gears or you got something else that is grinding your gears, let me know. All right, text it on over 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line, or you can hang out in the Section 105 chat on our video stream on YouTube. So yesterday, or I should say last night, the Spurs picking up a win, Game 3 of the NBA Finals as the Finals moved to Madison Square Garden with the Knicks holding on to a 2-0 lead, but the Spurs able to get a 115-111 W to temporarily extend this series, at least by a game, right? So then tonight we've got a pivotal Game 4 Stanley Cup Final, Carolina-Vegas. Vegas holding on to a 2-1 series lead. Obviously, if Vegas wins tonight, they will have a commanding 3-1 series lead and one win away from capturing Lord Stanley's Cup. Carolina needing that win to avoid a 3-1 hole and tying this series up at 2 apiece. So, also, since it is Tuesday, it is I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. I'm not saying blank, but I'm just saying blank. What you got? Best ones, I'll read up on the air, okay? I'm not saying blank, but I'm just saying blank. I want to hear from you. So hit me up with those messages. Quick look at kind of where things are at in Major League Baseball. I know we didn't have a ton of games last night here too, but this is kind of where, just a quick update of where everything's at. You got Tampa Bay now and the Yankees. They're right up there. Tampa Bay holding a little bit of a lead in the win percentage column in the AL East. Tampa Bay 38-25. The Yankees 39-26. AL Central, it's the Guardians and the White Sox so far. Guardians 37-31, White Sox 34-31. They're one game behind. For all you Twins fans out there, they're 6.5 games behind first place. To wrap up the American League, you have the Mariners 35-32. The Rangers, though, just 2 games back. And those Athletics, those pesky Athletics, 3.5 back. Astros 4.5 back. To the National League, you've got the Braves 45-21 on the season, but Philadelphia 6 games above 500. They've made up some ground, but the Braves, they won't stop winning. So Philly is still 9 games back. You've got the West. It's the Dodgers division right now. Diamondbacks, Padres, they're both 34-31 and 7.5 games back. And then you've got the Milwaukee Brewers, who are holding on to a 5.5 game lead over the Cardinals, a 8 game lead over the Pirates, and an 8 game lead over the Cubs. 10.5 over the Cincinnati Reds. Can the Brewers continue this nice run that they're on and increase that gap between them and the Cardinals? Cubs right there, 8 back. I mean, they still got 98 more games to go here. 98 more of these. You don't get comfortable at this point in time. Not even, we're only like 39% of the 39% through this season, for crying out loud. So, all right, tell you what. Let's take a quick break, and we'll do another 10. Another 10. I don't want to say top 10, but another 10. And since today we're going to be talking some college sports and the state of college sports, specifically maybe college football and that, let's take a look at 10 programs, 10 universities that when you think of college sports, these are some of the teams that come to your mind. Basketball, football, baseball even. You want to throw that one in there? Softball. When you think about the history of college sports, okay, what are some of the teams that instantly come to your mind? I've got a few. Not going to hit up all of them because we're only doing 10. But I'm throwing the question out to you just to see if we have any common picks for the next 10. All right. Again, it could be maybe you're just a big college football fan and you're going to go, oh, well, it's Alabama and Ohio State and Michigan, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe you're a big college basketball fan. It's like, oh, Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, Kentucky. But when you think about college sports, what are the universities that come to mind right away without even thinking about it too much? Hit me up. Hit me up with a text or a comment on the video stream. All right, so let's take a quick break, and we'll knock out another 10 in the top 250 coming up after these quick words. Summer's here, and that means it's time to hit the road and something that you love. And at Toyson Ford, you will find a great selection of new and pre-owned vehicles ready for every adventure. Looking for some power, comfort, reliability? Hey, they've got it all backed by a team that's committed to making your car buying experience easy and stress-free. So whether it's a weekend getaway or your daily drive, or maybe you're hauling the kids to some ball tournaments and such, make sure that you are riding in style this summer. Toyson Ford in Chippewa Falls, where your next journey begins. All right, let's knock out another 10, shall we? In our 250 series, America about to turn 250 in less than a month. We are going through the top 250 moments, plays, games, teams, players in America's sports history. You cannot tell the history of sports in the old USA without mentioning these. We have talked about some leagues. We have talked about some athletes, and there's going to be a lot more athletes. We have talked about some teams, and we're going to talk more about them coming up here, and there's going to be more. We've talked about some games, and there's going to be more. Coaches, et cetera, plays, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot to get to. We're not even at the halfway mark yet, okay? So if you're listening to this and this is the first one you've listened to and you're like, how do you not say this one? Be patient, or maybe go back and listen to the other segments that all of them are available through the Man Cave podcast, okay? So without further ado, let's knock out another 10. And I want to stick to the college ranks for this one, just because timing-wise, with all the talk right now and college football with Texas Tech and such, I'm like, you know what? Let's talk about some college teams here. So since it's college football, when you think about college football, what are some of the teams that come to your mind right away? Whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether you're a fan or whether you're not a fan of that team, who are some of the teams that just jump to the front of your memory bank right away? For me, one of them is Notre Dame. Notre Dame football. Again, whether you like them or not, you cannot tell the history of college football without Notre Dame football. For just because of championships, TV deals, icon movies like Rudy. I mean, a lot of these teams and players and such, we talk about brands and icons. And Notre Dame football, the Fighting Irish, is a brand. Okay, it is a brand. People know about Notre Dame football, even if they can't name a player on Notre Dame football, whether it is from Rudy the movie or whether it's because, their games are always on TV. Notre Dame football. I mean, you'll look at it from claimed national championships. You're talking 1924, 1929, 1930, 1943, 1946, 1947. 1949, 1966, 1973, 1977, 1988, to unclaimed. I mean, you're talking 1919, 1920, 1927, 1938, 1953, 1964, 1967, 1970, 1989, 1993, 2012. So, obviously, now with how college football playoff, it's been a hot minute since Notre Dame has captured a national championship by today's standards and that. And I know it's, for a while there was like, okay, poll-wise, Notre Dame gets in the playoff, and it's almost a quick out in that. But they're still an iconic team. They're still a legendary, historical college football team. And you cannot tell the history of college football in America without Notre Dame being a part of that. And they're right at the top. They're right towards the top. If they're not one, they're top two, top three. Another one you'd easily put in there is Alabama football. So if Notre Dame isn't the first team that you are probably thinking about, it's probably Alabama football. Whether it's Paul Bear Bryant or Nick Saban or all the different players that have played for Alabama football over the years. My guy, like Don Hudson, for crying out loud, or some more recent ones. Alabama football. You're talking about, claimed national championships, 1925, 1926, 1930, 1934, 1941, 1961, 64, 65, 73, 78, 79, 92, and then the Nick Saban era, 09, 11, 12, 15, 17, 20. Even got some unclaimed ones in there too. But a dominant, absolutely dominating football program over the years with two iconic coaches throughout its history with Saban and Paul Bear Bryant. You want to talk about brands in sports, teams who are viewed as a brand? Boom, Alabama football. When you think about a lot of these universities, one of the questions that kind of gets thrown out there too is, well, is that a football school? Is that a basketball school? Right? I mean, so a lot of these universities that I'll be mentioning, it's mostly tied to, that's because they're a football school. Now, Alabama basketball, I just want to say for men's basketball, they've been pretty relevant the last few years. So I'm not ignoring them, what they've done, but they're a football school. Like, we know a lot of these schools, we know the priority. And for a lot of Division I schools, the priority is football for a lot of them because of money. Unless you're maybe a couple schools that I'm about to say here that, they are basketball schools. Well, let's talk about maybe the biggest basketball school. When you think about college basketball, what's the first team you think of? The first team that comes to your mind when you think about college basketball. There's probably a couple of them, to be fair. There's probably a couple of them. But the one that I'm thinking of is Duke. Now, I know we've talked about Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski, in one of our earlier episodes, one of our earlier top tens. And now when you look at Duke, when you talk about the program itself, NCAA Division I tournament champions, 91, 92, 01, 10, 15. And John Shire's got him rolling here again too. Replacing a legend, but he's done a really good job. But when you talk about, again, a brand, an iconic team, franchise, organization, whatever, if we're talking pro or college, Duke basketball, man. Duke basketball is right at the forefront. And this is a prime example of when you think about a university and you fill in the blanks of like, well, that's a blank school. This is a basketball school. Yes, they've had football players go through the program and have done, well, or have carved themselves out at the college level, but this is straight up a basketball school. That is the priority. I don't think that's a hot take or anything. Basketball is the priority. Another school that I would throw in there when you think about college basketball, I throw UConn in there. Both men's and women's college basketball. Again, we threw in Gino Auriemma. We've already mentioned him as one of the coaches you think about in the history of sports. And we know what, just as a refresher for what UConn women's basketball, how dominant they have been. National champs in 95, 2000, 02, 03, 04, 09, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, and then 2025. You're talking, 12 national championships? When you think about women's college basketball, the first team that I think about, and I think the first team that a lot of people think about, is UConn. Maybe you're a little bit more old school yet, and you still think about Tennessee with Pat Summitt. All right, cool. Maybe you think about South Carolina with Dawn Staley. Not a bad one either. But when I think about dynasties and I think about just pure dominance from a women's college basketball standpoint, it's the UConn Huskies. And then you got the men's side, and you look at what they have done in the past, 30-some years? I mean, you go to Jim Calhoun, right? Got some national championships. Then they got the one with Kevin Ollie, which, gosh, it still bugs me that Wisconsin lost to Kentucky on that buzzer beater, because I think Wisconsin wins that national tournament, but regardless. So they get that one in, was it 2011? No, 2014. Kevin Ollie. And then Hurley with what he's doing right now with UConn. You're talking about UConn men's basketball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 national championships. If there was a university that is just basketball university, and you add in both men's and women's basketball at the Division I level, you're going to be hard-pressed to make the case that it's not UConn. And honestly, I mean, you could throw maybe a little bit of Duke in there too, because they've had some success with the women's teams and North Carolina and that, but I think it's UConn. When I think about straight-up basketball from the men's and women's, combining it both, it's UConn. From the sheer domination of their women's team and all those great players to come through from both programs, you can't tell the history of college basketball, both men and women's, in the last 250 years without mentioning the UConn Huskies. Speaking of North Carolina, I mean, I got to throw it again. You want to talk about, you know what? There are some universities, Division I schools, that I think, and we talk about brands and iconics and images, and I kind of mentioned this with the Yankees. Like, I feel a lot of people just wear a Yankees hat, a Yankees hat, even though they're not a Yankees fan, because that's style, that's a brand. Right? It's like wearing maybe a Nike logo or something. It's the Yankees logo. I kind of feel North Carolina is like that in a sense, because I remember when I was younger, you had all the, and I remember people wearing Texas hats, with the orange, and maybe it was the color scheme, Carolina blue. But I remember, because I was one of them, early college years, late high school years, I think I had nearly a dozen North Carolina hats. Because it was like a brand. And now you factor in the Jordan element to it with the jump man and that. I mean, it takes it to another level. But when you think about college basketball, and you think about some of the all-time programs, North Carolina Tar Heels, you're right there. Dean Smith, Roy Williams, players that have gone through. I think it's one of the best rivalries in all of sports with North Carolina and Duke. They're not far from each other. They're competing a lot for the same recruits. Champions in 57, 82, 93, 05, 09, 17. It's North Carolina basketball is a brand, and now it's really interesting in the last couple of years that we have seen from North Carolina. What have they done from a football side of things? You hire Bill Belichick. Like, okay, we're maybe going to up our football program a little bit. And now with Matt Malone being the men's basketball coach, North Carolina's gone kind of a pro route from a coaching side of things for both their football and basketball teams. Well, we saw the first year of the Belichick era, and not the greatest. I'm really curious because I still view that North Carolina is a basketball school, how this is going to shape up with Matt Malone now. Or not Matt Malone. Did I say Matt Malone is a former DJ colleague of ours, so that's why it's Michael Malone. Mike Malone. So I don't know why I keep saying Matt Malone. Former I-94 DJ. So, but yeah, North Carolina college basketball. Yeah, you got to throw them in there too. And again, I'm not going to be able to get through all of them, and there's going to be more coming up here. So don't yell at me. It's like, well, how can you not say this one and this one? They're probably coming up. So we've what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've done 5. Okay, so let's do. Well, we got to do 5 more. Let's stick with college basketball here, and I mean Kentucky. You got to throw Kentucky in here. When we talk about blue blood programs, and that's kind of where we're going at here with some of these college basketball teams, Kentucky basketball. The level of or I shouldn't say the level, the standard for Wildcats basketball is so incredibly high. And it's, even if you have a winning season, if you're not like Final Four, Elite Eight, the expectations are so high at Kentucky that if you're not going to win a championship, you're not going to make these deep runs, you might be on the out. Look at kind of like John Calipari leaving Kentucky to go to Arkansas. And the last time we've had Kentucky become a national champion was in 2012. Now, they made some Final Fours in that. But it's been a hot minute since they've won a national championship. You had Rick Pitino there, 96, 98, with Tubby Smith. Those runs, 48, 49, 51, 58. You throw one in 1978, too. Rupp, one of the best college basketball coaches maybe of all time. But it's a blue blood program. It's Kentucky basketball. Where the expectations are, I don't know if they're their highest amongst college basketball teams, because, Duke is pretty darn high. Kentucky's pretty darn high. Kansas is pretty darn high. Obviously, North Carolina is pretty darn high. So, it's up there. And speaking of Kansas, you got to throw them in there if we're talking about blue bloods in college basketball. The Kansas Jayhawks. And talk about so first off, they've got 4 national championships, 52, 1988, 08, and 2022. But you look at Kansas basketball, and I still remember watching, the Roy Williams era. Roy Williams took over from Larry Brown. Larry Brown, you probably know him more from his time in the NBA. Well, Roy Williams was there from 88 to 03 and had a ton of success. Just really couldn't get that championship. Last year, when he was the head coach at Kansas, falling to Carmelo Anthony and that Syracuse team. But he goes to North Carolina, his alma mater, and then has success. But then Bill Self, former Illinois coach, comes in, and Kansas, you look at the last, they're like the Pittsburgh Steelers when it comes to coaches, I feel like. That's kind of where I'm at, because you go back to 1964. Ted Owens from 64 to 83. Larry Brown, 83 to 88. Roy Williams, 88 to 03, and it's been Bill Self since then. They're kind of, to me, the Pittsburgh Steelers of college basketball coaches. A lot of consistency. And Larry Brown, your Larry Brown history, he doesn't stay in one spot for very long either. So just 5 years in Kansas is probably, a pretty remarkable feat to begin with. But even so, you go way back to Kansas's history in basketball, James Naismith. Yeah, the father of basketball. The program officially began in 1898 following the arrival of Dr. James Naismith to the school. That was from 1898 to 1907. Then from 1907 to 1956, Fog Allen, William O. Hamilton, and then Dick Hart from 56 to 64. And then it was the Ted Owens. I mean, just consistency, longevity from a coaching standpoint. But Kansas basketball, that is, when we talk about arenas too, I've never been there, but I hear like awesome things about about Allen Fieldhouse. It's on my bucket list that I want to go check it out and to see if it lives up to that hype. But yeah, again, Kansas Jayhawks, you got to throw them in there. I mean, you got to throw in UCLA basketball. A lot of it is John Wooden and that too, but I mean, UCLA basketball, it's the history, the championships. It's, they're still trying to maybe try to capture some of that. Was it Holland? Ben Holland when he was over there in the early 2000s? Got to those Final Fours, but could just never really get to the national championship. And obviously they haven't found that John Wooden national championship magic. But I mean, again, I think, UCLA, and a lot of it is probably due to John Wooden's success. They still have this aura about them. They still have this, light about them that they're a go-to program. And maybe not a go-to program, but they're an iconic program in that. So you do have to throw in UCLA in there, just based off the history and the national champions too. So where are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so we got 8. Well, let me wrap it up with a couple of college football ones. Let's go Ohio State. I mean, Ohio State football. I'm going to lump both of them in here for the final two because you can't talk about one without the other. It's Ohio State and Michigan football. Talk about rivalries. Ohio State and Michigan, top 3, top 1 for a lot of people. You certainly can make the case for it. When you're talking about national championships, both of them have a nice group, have a few of them in the trophy case. Ohio State Buckeye football. I mean, you look at coaches. I mean, for crying out loud, they had Paul Brown in there, Woody Hayes for the longest time. And then, they've gone through highs and lows, ups and downs. You have the Jim Tressel era, Urban Meyer era. I mean, if you really want to count it, the Luke Fickell era. And then Ryan Day, current era. And then, Michigan football. You want to talk about history, and you want to talk. That's another stadium I would love to go to is the Big House. But Michigan football with their history, their national championships. A lot of these times, I mean, you're talking about this rivalry where, Ryan Day for the longest time too, it was like great season, but you keep losing to Michigan, you might lose your job, or at least that was all the talk. But you got Woody Hayes over there at Michigan. Right? You've got these, not Woody, Bo Schembechler. I'm still on Ohio State talk here. But Bo and these rivalries between these programs and these coaches of Woody and Bo. A little trash talk, a little bit of hate going back and forth. But two iconic football universities where each university has had their ebbs and flows. They've had some highs and they've definitely have had some lows. And Michigan, that's another school too. You look back at it and you could throw Michigan in here for basketball. When I think about Ohio State, and I know they've had some success with basketball, you look at Greg Oden era, they made the national championship, Thad Matta, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they've had some success with basketball. But when you look at Michigan too, I think we still think about them for football, just based off history and that. But I mean, they've got the history too when it comes to basketball, men's basketball, whether it's the Fab Four in that era, right, or just winning the national championship. I mean, they've had success at that level too. And I think it still gets a little underrated because football is still king. It's still king. But don't forget about their tournament champion runs too. I mean, 89 and 22, 89 in just this past year. And then they lost to Louisville, even though now Louisville was the vacated one with Rick Pitino. But here's an example of a university that you can make the case. Pretty darn good in both college football and college basketball. So you can't talk about one without the other. When you talk about Ohio State, though, you got to talk about Michigan Wolverines. When you talk about Michigan, you got to talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes. When you talk about college basketball, college football, these are just the first grouping. We've got more college teams. We've got more college programs and such coming your way. But with the story out there, where college football's at right now, thought, okay, you know what, for our next 10, let's talk about some college universities, some teams, some programs that when you think about the history, whether it's basketball, football, or whatever the case may be, and I know we highlighted mostly just football and basketball for these 10, you can't tell the history of that without mentioning these universities. They're brands. I mean, I remember a buddy of mine, okay, just really quick, a buddy of mine, you want to talk about brands, Michigan was a brand too, because a good friend of mine is a diehard Badgers fan. Diehard. But I remember in elementary school, what was his starter jacket? Those starter winter jackets? Michigan. It was a brand. And a lot of these universities that we mentioned, they're brands. They're iconic. All right. That's our 10. We got, 180 more to go, if my math is correct. So don't forget, all of these segments are available on the Man Cave podcast. I'm running late, so we got to take a break, and I got to take another break in the next 15 minutes. So let's do that right now. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Summer does put your vehicle to the test. And AJM Automotive, they're ready to help you win that battle. With 2 convenient Eau Claire locations, AJM Automotive can handle everything from oil changes and inspections to brakes, tires, major repairs. Hey, before your next road trip, make sure your vehicle is ready for wherever summer takes you. Trust the team at AJM Automotive. 2 locations, 1 commitment, keeping you safely on the road all summer long. Check them out online and make your appointment at ajmautomotiveservices.com. And don't forget, too, since it is lawn mowing season, now with some of the rain that we're getting this week, you might have to mow the lawn here if that yard does spruce up here a little bit, maybe turn a little more green. But if you have any issues with that mower, they do small engine work, too. They've helped me out. Lawnmowers, snow blowers, my truck, so my wife's truck, all that stuff. But, yeah, that's good place to go to. Like we talked to John, was it a few weeks ago? It's like he said, they pretty much do everything over there. So I might have to reach out to him too. I don't know if you're listening right now, John. I might have to reach out to him if he can help me out with a little bit of a brush saw and a tiller too. Just saying, small engine stuff there. But hey, we got some Christian Watson contract numbers that it's been filed. So the biggest thing is cap hits, right? So I know I got to take another break here. I'm going to give you the cap hits. And then we'll take a break just to give you a few minutes to digest it. Because I want to talk about this in a little bit more depth just past the 8 o'clock hour. All right? So here it is. For 2026, this season, his cap hit, and I'm just going to round, $10.5 million. 2027, $11.5 million. These are just cap hits, remember. 2028, it goes up to 24.5. 2029, 29. 2030, 26.2. Those are the yearly cap hits. Okay? Take a little bit. And I'm going to put it in perspective for you, though, too. That's what I'm going to do here. So those, again, it is essentially a 4-year, $92 million contract, includes $31 million in signing bonus, which we heard, 31 guaranteed. Around 18, potentially $18 million in incentives. He's got a $13 million roster bonus in 2028 as well. So those are just some of the numbers. Digest it, and I want to put it in perspective for you coming up here in just a little bit. Ran a little long, so I do got to take another quick break here before we hit halftime. So let's do that. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Summer is the season for golf, softball, pickleball, running, slow pitch softball over anybody, yeah, and staying active. But aches and pains can quickly slow you down. That's where Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine comes in. Their experienced team helps weekend warriors and athletes of all ages get back to doing what they love with expert care and treatment options designed to keep you moving. Play more, hurt less. Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. So coming up in the next hour, because I only got a couple minutes left to the shot clock, tells me to knock it off, and we hit halftime here. We will kick it off talking a little green and gold because, I want to put the Christian Watson contract in a little bit more perspective now with these filed cap hits. Also, throw in their Pro Football Focus. Pro Football Focus has come out with a piece ranking the NFL's 10 best head coaches entering the 2026 season. All right, this was a couple of days ago, but Matt LaFleur is on the list. If you haven't seen it, if you don't know where he's at, don't Google it. And just let me know. Hit me up with a message. Would you put Matt LaFleur in the top 10? And then I'll tell you where Pro Football Focus has him and why. So that'll be coming up right before we talk with RJ Cardinal. Lots of college stuff to be talking about with RJ. So looking forward to that conversation with him. Don't forget, it is a Toys and Ford Grind My Gears Tuesday. What's grinding your gears? Send it on over. All right, get it off your chest. Also, it is I'm not saying, but I'm just saying. I'm not saying blank, but I'm just saying blank. My I'm not saying, but I'm just saying involves the Christian Watson contract that we're going to chat about here coming up in just a few minutes. So, all right. We got 2 in. We got 2 more to go. We're at halftime here on this Tuesday morning. Hit me up with your thoughts on the Watson contract now that we've got the reported cap hits, because that is the crucial part. I'll put it in a little bit of perspective for you coming up here in just a little bit. And as Matt LaFleur, would you agree with Pro Football Focus? He's a top 10 coach right now. That should be a doozy. All right, we'll be back after these news updates. All right, hour 3 kicks off right now. Halftime is over with. Thanks for hanging out with us and making us a part of your start here on this June 9th. Coming up in about, let's say, 15 or so minutes, we'll catch up with RJ Cardinal. We'll talk some college sports with RJ here, so looking forward to that. It is a Toyson Ford Grind My Gears Tuesday. What's grinding your gears? Get it off your chest and let us know. All right. Reach out to us, 715-830-1912, or chime in on the video stream chat, the Section 105 chats. It is also a I'm not saying, but I'm just saying Tuesday, as John says. I'm not saying that Jake Bowers is an all-star starter, but I'm just saying that he should be on the all-star team. I would co-sign that. 100%. He's probably not going to be a starter, but how do you argue with the numbers that he's putting up this season? That he is not an all-star player. 286, 12 home runs. Come on now. Right now, so first of all, let's get to voting here. Bowers, legit case. Contreras, legit case. Terang, legit case. Even Kyle Harrison struggled yesterday, still legit case. Jacob Mizorowski, legit case. 5? They're probably going to have, I would say, 4, 3 to 4, but it should be 5. I hope they get 5. That'd be awesome. We'll see, though. But keep those coming. Keep them coming. Let's get, okay. I'm just kind of looking up some other Christian Watson stuff to see where it's at here. Okay, so Watson's deal. I went through the cap hits here because now that we've got some of the numbers, we've got some of the more info here. 2026 cap hit, $10.5 million. 2027 cap hit, $11.5 million. 2028, $24.5 million. I'm just rounding. 2029, $29 million for a cap hit. And then the final year of his deal, if he makes it that far, $26 million cap hit. So, what let's put this in perspective then. What does it all mean, right? Well, first off, we've got with this cap hit for this year, it's about 3.49% of the team's cap space. Then you got like 3.57. Then it does jump up. You're talking about double here. But I think it's better to put it in a perspective comparing it to other receivers and just seeing where the market is at. So like this year, 2026, his cap hit of a 10.5. Where does that rank with other receivers out there? Christian Watson would be 22nd. 22nd in the league at 10.5. I'd take that. Wouldn't you? I'd take that. So Chris Godwin, for example, his cap hit this year, 33.7. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 33. DK Metcalf, 31. Devontae Adams, 28. All right, but we know contracts, cap hits maybe go up a little bit higher later on in the contract, like Christian Watson's does. So, okay, what about 2027? And these could change, obviously, with new deals and that stuff. With his $11.5 million cap hit next season, where would that rank? It actually goes down. 33. 33. Justin Jefferson entering 2027, and this is probably going to be adjusted, but he would have a $49.5 million cap hit. CeeDee Lamb would have a $46.1 million cap hit. Nico Collins, 42. Brandon Ayuk, who still in the roster, would have a $41.5 million. Alec Pierce, who just signed that deal this offseason, $35.2 million cap hit. Christian Watson, not this year, next year, 33. Okay, but 2028, it jumps up. You're right. And he does move up to 15th in 2028. This would be his third year into this deal. And he still would be 15th. And odds are that might drop. That might drop into the 20s after we get more deals with some of the younger wide receivers and some other receivers coming in. There's a good chance that that could still drop down into the 20s. So that 2028 season, when his cap hit jumps up to 24.5, you're still talking 15th, but a very good chance, I think, to even drop further. All right, well, what about 2029? That's his biggest cap hit on here. That's $29 million. And remember, salary cap's been going up every single year, right? Well, right now, which is 3 years from now, he would have the 7th highest cap hit at $29 million. But that's going to fall. I believe that's going to fall. After you've got some of these younger receivers maybe going to be making some bank and such. And then 2030, way down the line, when he's 31 years old, $26.2 million cap hit. I'll just bring this one up because we can here. And that would be the 4th. But again, there's not a ton of big contracts on the books yet at that point. However, if the Packers decided to move on from him, they could with only a dead cap hit of $6 million, so they would save $20 million in cap space. And as we know, there could be maneuvering, restructures to create more cap space and such. It is essentially a 4-year, $92 million deal, 31 guaranteed, up to $18 million in incentives. I'm not saying that this is a complete bargain deal, but I'm just saying that this is a really good contract, in my opinion, for Green Bay. When you put it in perspective that way. When you break it down and you compare it to other deals, current deals that are out there, I'm not saying that this is a complete fleecing by the Packers, but I'm just saying that this is, I think, a very, 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 very fair, very favorable contract for the Pack. Is there still some risk because you look at Christian Watson's injury history? Sure, why not? I mean, there's always going to be a risk for any player, though. Even the healthiest player in the world, all of a sudden, something could happen. We don't know that. We can't predict that. But for a lot of fans, what do they want to hear from contracts? A lot of times is, performance-based, incentives. Okay. This contract is full of them, too, because it could get up to $18 million reportedly in incentives. I think it's a very favorable contract for Green Bay now that we got those cap hits out there. I mean, the first 2 years, 10.5 and 11.5. And then, in a couple of years in 2028, when the salary cap's going to be bigger, you can kind of do some adjustments and such. Yeah. I think this proves it even more that this was a good deal for Green Bay, in my opinion. So is Matt LaFleur a top 10 head coach? Pro Football Focus thinks so. In one of their pieces from a couple days ago, they ranked the NFL's 10 best head coaches entering the 2026 season. They write it off as across the NFL landscape, there are a number of ways to measure a franchise's capabilities, including star power, recent track record, and ownership competence. Deeply interwoven in that fabric is a team's head coach. Although head coaches aren't the players executing on the field or wholeheartedly overseeing roster construction, their power remains transformative. From installing league-shifting schematics to finding ways to overcome injuries, a coach is one of the best tools any organization can wield. Weighing a mixture of a collective body of work, success over the last few years, and play-calling abilities, below are Pro Football's 10 best guides entering 2026. Sean McVay was number 1. Andy Reid was number 2. Kyle Shanahan, number 3. Mike McDonald, number 4. Dan Campbell, number 5. Number 6, Matt LaFleur. Number 7, DeMeco Ryans. Number 8, Sean Payton. Number 9, Mike Vrabel. Number 10, Jim Harbaugh. So, what did Pro Football Focus have to say about Matt LaFleur? Taking over for a franchise. I know some fans are probably going to just chuckle at this line and roll their eyes, but this is from Pro Football Focus. Taking over for a franchise legend in Mike McCarthy might be imposing for some, but not LaFleur. In his 7 seasons with Green Bay, LaFleur has posted a tremendous 76, 40, and 1 clip, including making 6 trips to the playoffs. LaFleur's background as an offensive mastermind has clearly manifested with the Packers. In his tenure, Green Bay ranks 3rd in EPA per play and touchdown drive rate. Whether developing Jordan Love into a star or finding ways to win with Malik Willis, LaFleur has kept the team's offense in football's upper echelon by remaining creative schematically. It's true that LaFleur hasn't realized amazing playoff success as of late, losing his last 3 contests and securing his last victory during the 2023 season after starting with consecutive conference title game bursts, in particular last year's blown lead to the Bears in a wild card round defeat spurred job security talks. Those seemed a little brash for a consensus good coach, but clearing that late January hurdle would vault LaFleur into a higher stratosphere, and he should have the talent to make a strong attempt again this season. All right. We'll throw that out for your consideration and your debates. Let's take a quick break, and let's talk some college sports with RJ Cardinal. He's coming up after these few words. Summer road trips create some great memories, but sometimes accidents happen. If a fender bender puts a dent in your plans, you can trust Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire to get your vehicle looking like new again. Their experienced team provides quality collision repair and attention to detail that helps restore your vehicle and your peace of mind. So when life bumps into your vehicle, you can count on Superior Auto Body in Eau Claire. All right, so we've been talking a little bit about this here this morning, but I want to get our guy, Mr. RJ Cardinal's thoughts on this Texas Tech debacle. Well, first things first, RJ. Good morning. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning. Doing pretty good. How are you?
Not bad, man. Not bad. Got playing a little golf later on today, so looking forward to that. So gonna be on the course.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good time.
Not bad. Yeah, not bad. So never a bad day on the course, right?
No, never. Even if you play bad.
Exactly. All right, one of the biggest stories in the sports world in the last 24 hours or so, and I know we kind of touched on it, I believe it was last week or the week before, but Brendan Sorsby, Texas Tech quarterback, who had admitted, gambling on games, betting on games over the years. The NCAA ruled him ineligible, and now a judge has ruled him back to being eligible, and now you've got this outpouring from everybody, it seems like, in the college world in complete dismay and disappointment. I mean, there's a report from ESPN saying Big Ten officials are expected to discuss in the upcoming days a league-wide mandate to not schedule Texas Tech in any sport in the regular season. So first things first, what was your reaction when you heard this, that a judge ruled him eligible now?
Absolutely laughable that a judge in Lubbock County would have this guy be eligible. And for people who don't know, that's where Texas Tech is.
Yeah.
So it was kind of funny. I did see one that says there was two places this could be filed, either in Lubbock or in Indianapolis. And then it said after that, why make this an away game? So, there's some funny things that are in there, but and it's weird because then after that, yesterday, one of Texas Tech's mega donors had said that an injustice has happened and he's working to make it right. So I'm not really sure what's going on. It's like a judge can't look at that and say, yeah, he can play. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Right.
That you can say you bet on your own games, and here's a temporary injunction to let you play college football. And that doesn't make sense. So one way or another, you have to believe in the back channel something shady is going on. And now you have at least one donor who said he's working to make this right. Across the country right now, even Big 12 schools, the conference they're in, are talking about not playing them this year, like taking them off the schedule in all sports. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Georgia has already told all of its athletic department to drop them and not schedule them. I believe Nebraska has individually said that as well. Like you said, the Big Ten is discussing it and most likely will put that out there. Right now, yes, it looks horrible, and it absolutely is. Like, you cannot it compromises the sport and shows that athletes can start betting on the games they're playing in or not playing in, because he said he had to do it to make himself feel like he was still part of the team while he was on the bench. But he also bet on games he played in mop-up duty or whatever, but he still played in games he bet on. So, it just doesn't make sense, especially when news comes out over however many years it was and X amount of bets that he bet $90,000. Now, maybe he was winning those bets and he got a good winning percentage. Way to go.
Right.
But it's clear he might have a problem, and you're just being an enabler here, and having it not be a penalty to bet on games you might have a direct impact on the outcome in. So it just, it's a horrible look. Hopefully the NCAA does appeal it and take it to a higher court, where I'm pretty sure outside of Lubbock, the rest of the state of Texas, where universities might be, are probably not happy about that. So we'll see what happens there. But where last week we were talking about Texas Tech putting out a challenge to Texas and buying out their 2 first weekend games to play each other, I doubt Texas will want to participate in that anymore. So really, this, which who knows who had any dealings with on why this one judge put the temporary injunction in there, I have a feeling we might be seeing a reverse of course pretty soon with the amount of national outcry there is, especially when you have the entire membership minus one school of the NCAA, I assume, is on the NCAA side here.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw this, too. He's Brandon Marcello, senior national college football reporter for CBS Sports. He posted this last night. All 4 justices on the 7th Court of Appeals in Texas are, guess what, Texas Tech graduates. I mean, how does that, that's even a little bit more like, that's going to be interesting.
Right? Yeah, it does become a conflict of interest there. I mean, there is a way to recuse yourself.
You're right.
From and in looking at that, I think as you go higher in the courts now, if you are a graduate of Texas Tech, you might want to recuse yourself from this because of now what you see in the District Court of Lubbock or whatever, Lubbock County or wherever it is. But it's not a good look. And there might be a time where Texas Tech becomes an independent and nobody's going to play them. And they can spend all their money they want, have one of the weaker schedules ever, and, just irrelevant. So I think something needs to be reversed here. Cooler heads would probably say it will be, but without knowing the actual legal system, I don't know when, where, why, how that can happen. So, just a horrible look all around on Texas Tech's part. I mean, at some point, somebody should have looked at him and been like, hey, just don't do this.
Right.
But, I mean, when you're trying to win and go to a national championship, I can see why you would. But I think people who are trying to make money off of him thought, for a time being now, he is above the system. But hopefully that will be rectified here.
We have a texter that just quickly asked, could the NCAA say, okay, you're eligible, but we're suspending you for 15 games, which I don't know if they can, but I could probably imagine then that would also probably go to court and try to reverse that too.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know there was, I read somewhere there was a 2-game suspension in there. So I'm not sure where that came from. I don't know if it's self-imposed by Texas Tech, but I'd assume you can then put a suspension on there if you're eligible. Without knowing the bylaws, I don't know if it says in there you can't bet on sports. We talked about it before. Rick Neuheisel was suspended a couple of games for participating in an NCAA basketball bracket. So it becomes one of those, I don't know the rules. I'll have to look them up, see if that's something that's in writing that says you can't do that. And if you do, the suspension is at the discretion of the NCAA or whatever. But I'd assume you can throw a suspension on there, and then that can be appealed. So, but you'd have to appeal to the NCAA for that, and then we know how long sometimes it takes for them to do stuff. But I feel like this one they might look into it and be like, yeah, but then they can put a temporary injunction on the suspension too. So
Right.
we'll see what happens, but like I said, hopefully better heads prevail here, and somebody who's not wearing the red colored glasses of the Red Raiders will look at this and say, yeah, probably not the best idea to have somebody who gambled on games they participated in be playing right now.
I was just reading a little bit here. This was from ESPN2 that said that he will still miss Texas Tech's first 2 games, which was a penalty that had been proposed by his own attorneys. So, I mean, that's probably where that 2-game suspension came from.
Yeah, okay, that's probably what I saw then. But I love how it's proposed by his attorneys, not even the team, the attorneys. But I'm guessing that was a whole appeal to just to be able to be eligible.
Right.
Being like, hey, we'll miss the first 2 games. And I know the judge ruled because it was detrimental to his life and livelihood moving forward. I think when it broke that you were gambling on your own games, you knew the inherent risk of what could come of this. So you didn't care about your future and livelihood. I don't think NFL teams will like it much. And it's just, it's a crap show all around, and I'm loving the immediate response of athletic programs to just say, hey, we're not playing yet.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah. And literally, if a team can't get out on the field and get any of that revenue and such too, I mean, does that almost force Texas Tech to make that decision, saying, all right, if teams aren't going to play us, then we can't have you play out there?
Yeah, and that's the thing. What can they do now if there's a temporary injunction to let him play?
Yeah.
I mean, are they going to straight up, if they straight up suspend him, he can't, do you then sue the team you're playing for?
Right.
I it's all this legality stuff I don't know and is above my head, but as you're churning through and you're thinking of things where people have appealed before and been able to play while they're getting appealed, or in terms of Nizer Forkering not being able to play when you're appealing stuff and had an injunction, but then another injunction to say, no, you can't play, but hey, we're looking into it. It's just one of those, Let's see, I saw another one that said, let me get this straight. Back in 2000, 26 players from Wisconsin were suspended because they received a pair of free shoes that everybody in the state could have gotten. But this guy can gamble $90,000, part of which is on games that he participated in or was on the roster for, and he doesn't have to do a darn thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not good. It's not a good look. It's now we've kind of fallen into what everybody was assuming would happen when NIL is just the Wild West. You have most likely somebody getting paid to make somebody eligible so a team has a better shot at a national championship. Mm-hmm. Who's to say it's not happening more widespread? But, I mean, you don't really get a lot of these things going to courts and things like that where somebody who's in the district of where somebody's playing or possibly went to school where the alleged thing is happening. It's just it's all out there, and it's not good.
No.
We are now getting into the dark side of what NIL has now become. So hopefully there's some kind of legislation somewhere along the lines here where things can get stepped in. And I'm not even saying of like what they're trying to pass right now in Congress or the Senate, whichever one brought that bill towards to the floor and all that. But like, hopefully the NCAA can grow a pair and start making rules on what's going on, where you can put a date on it and say, starting this date, here's what NIL is. And people can get mad about it. People can get all up in arms about it. But what are you going to do? The NFL has rules about you have to play 3 years before you're eligible to get drafted. The NBA says 1. Other sports are a little different, and they're getting affected by possibly the new 5-year rule. So, like, things are all over the place right now, and it's just one of those where the NCAA assumed everybody would just go get paid for appearances and all that kind of stuff, and it turned into now student athletes are on the verge of getting directly paid by the university they go and play for, without contracts and all that kind of stuff. So it's weird. It's crazy, and we're finally finding a legality issue where it finally got to the tipping point where everybody's not happy, and they're on the verge of revolt against Texas Tech.
Before I let you go here, RJ, I know there's been more talk about this. I've seen, some mentions about it. SEC Big Ten Super League, I think we've talked about that for years, and it seems to be popping up again and such. On a scale of 1 to 10, given everything we're talking about in college sports and everything, how likely do you think that would ever, ever, ever happen?
Well, I mean, it seems strange to think about it and have just a 32-team league or 36-team league, but I mean, no different than Major League Sports, who have 30 to 32-team leagues. They can go off and do their own championship, if solely for football. But who knows? Maybe they'll actually look and quite frankly, I think the Big Ten can call the shots here, because I mean, if the SEC wants to go do it alone, they're not going to make any more money than they already have. I think people are sick of the SEC. They're sick of ESPN promoting the SEC. They're sick of ESPN saying the SEC is still the best, even though the Big Ten has now won 3 national championships in a row, pretty much since NIL has started. Kind of crazy. I mean, we've talked about it for a long time. Financially, the Big Ten and its alumni are in a better position to put money forth towards athletics than anybody south of the Mason-Dixon line can be. You have the occasional oil barons and all that kind of stuff, but still, Big Ten overall has the most Fortune 500 CEOs, most presidents, all that. And financially, the Big Ten, like I've said for the longest time, is the actual rudder of the ship for the NCAA, where $1 billion from 3 different networks that really priced out every other conference says a lot, where ESPN had to start dumping a lot of stuff to pay the SEC. So, and that's still just one network. ABC, ESPN, they're all the same, and that's where you find the SEC now. So it's they can't go off on their own unless the Big Ten agrees to it.
Yeah. RJ, good stuff as always, buddy. We appreciate the time here, and maybe we'll be talking more about this next week and then such, seeing what happens in the next week or so.
Yeah, we didn't even get to talk about the nice recruiting weekend Wisconsin had.
I know, right?
That Florida State commit that flipped ended up committing to Wisconsin the day after we talked. Had a couple of more defensive linemen, linebacker.
The lineman from Dakota, I think, flipped too. So.
Yep. Yeah. So a lot of players coming in, bumped the Badgers up, depending on where you look, anywhere from like 20th to 13th at one point in time. So yeah, the class is coming together. I think it shows that wherever the NIL money is coming from, they haven't really said where it's coming from, but there's been a greater commitment to probably lining some pockets here from wherever Wisconsin's NIL is coming from. So good. You can get excited for this. I know a lot of people don't because of the NIL and all that, but get excited for it. It shows Wisconsin is now being competitive. Now, who's to say if they continue to go on official visits, somebody's not going to offer them something a little more and they flip their commitment? It's bound to happen. You got to live with that in the back of your head. So like I say, I'm enjoying what I'm seeing on these recruiting visits, but I won't get excited until they sign that dotted line come the early signing period or in February. So, yeah.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, we'll hit that up next week unless something else happens after today when we get done talking, which will probably happen too. So,
yeah, it's going to be breaking news right here at 8:43.
Yep, exactly. Well, dude, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll catch up with you next week, sir.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you then.
You got it. There you go. RJ Cardinal joining us here this morning. Always some great stuff with our guy, Mr. RJ. Let's take a quick break. Got to play a little catch up here, and we'll be back after these few words. With school out, you might have to stock the pantries and the freezers full of extra goodies and foods for the kiddos who are all staying at home. And right now, the weekly flyer for Hy-Vee, they can help you save some money for your grocery budget, but also at the gas pump too. What's going on? What's on sale right now? How about $2.99 Doritos or Ruffles bag of chips with the purchase of 2? You want to go a little bit healthier? $1.99 Sunset Mini Cucumbers. Buy 5, get 5 free Gatorade sports drinks, especially. She's going to be warm for the next couple of days, too. And if you got kiddos that are playing in Little League and baseball, that'd be a good one there, too. How about 68 cents Hy-Vee macaroni and cheese or 3 for $5 Totino's Party Pizzas? Those would be good ones in our house. My kid only eats chicken nuggets, mac and cheese, and pizza. So you can check out the whole flyer and all the deals by just following Hy-Vee on Facebook and check out their different savings. And make sure you're always following Hy-Vee on Facebook because once in a while they may have that 1-day sale, 3-day sale going on. They've got their fuel saver savings going on from now until June 30th. And since it's June Dairy Month, I mean, you get a 5-cent fuel saver when you buy a gallon of milk. I mean, that's a heck of a deal there, too. Or if you're firing up the grill, 25-cent fuel saver for a propane refill or new tank, too. So, again, check it out on Hy-Vee's Facebook page. Coming up next hour, I want to talk a little bit about, because Luke's going to be here and he can kind of help us dive into it. We're going to talk a little bit about the Sports Broadcasting Act because Packers are kind of concerned about this potential here too. We'll explain what that means for you, the viewer, and such. So, since it is Tuesday, it is a Toyson 4 to grind my gears Tuesday. So, what's grinding your gears? You can send them on over. Hit us up with a quick message, 715-830-1912, or you can join in on the Section 105 chat room. So, baseball-wise, Brewers, hopefully they're still getting some Z's after last night's game. They'll be back at it tonight, 9:05 our time. Robert Gasser is going to be on the mound for the Brewers. So coverage will begin on your radio dials at 105.1 FM, 790 AM at 8:30 this evening. We'll talk some more baseball coming up here in just a little bit as we get set for Game 2 of the NBA Finals last night. We had the Spurs finally picking up a win and making this a series, taking Game 3 at Madison Square Garden. And then we've got the Stanley Cup Final, Game 4, pivotal Game 4 tonight. Golden Knights holding on to a 2-1 lead. Golden Knights win. They'll be 1 win away from capturing Lord Stanley's Cup. Carolina looking to even up that series at 2 wins apiece. So,
yeah, as per our discussions over pivotal, crucial, do or die, ESPN referred to Game 3 of the NBA Finals as a pivotal.
I called it
Game
crucial.
3. Yeah. See,
it's crucial for the Spurs.
Right. You go down 3-0. History says you will not win the series, much less the NBA title.
Yeah.
So,
that to me was a crucial Game 3.
Yeah.
This one's pivotal tonight for Stanley Cup.
Because it involves the pivoting of the series. Probably most apt when the series is tied, but at least one team has to have a win and no more than 2 games of a deficit involved. There's a formula to the terminology.
Right. Yep. So I would agree with that. So, okay, we got to play a little catch up. So we do have to take another break before the top of the hour, but please send us what is grinding your gears and your I'm not sayings, but I am just saying. I'm not saying blank, but I'm just saying blank. All right, we'll take our final break as we wrap up the third hour, the third quarter. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Don't forget to head to our website, sportstalk1051.com, and get your two-person team signed up for the Kasper Classic, Friday, August 7th at Lake Hallie Golf Course. 10 a.m.'s already sold out, so we've got our 7:30 a.m. flight and our 1 p.m. flight. So if you want to get your two-person team signed up before it's filled up, you better get to our website right now and lock in your spots before it is all gone because, well, it's the 60th annual, and I can tell you the first 5 years, they all sold out. So if you want to get your team in, you better do it right now. Also, coming up on Thursday is our first Tailgate Thursday with the Eau Claire Express. We're going to be hanging out in the Mobile Man Cave about 5:30 at the Carson Park parking lot before first pitch of the Eau Claire Express game. And shout out Brian from Card Collecting Club is going to be hanging out with me. And for every kid who stops by, he's going to give them some free cards too. So if you want to stop by, get some free cards. And I do have a few tickets left for that game. While supplies last, we'll get you a free ticket for that game too. So stop by to get some cards and stop by to get a game ticket while supplies last. And again, we'll be there about 5:30 Thursday. The Express falling to Wilmer last night. They'll wrap up this 6-game road trip against Wilmer before returning home to take on the Badlands Big Sticks starting tomorrow night. So, also, best of luck. Again, I know it's sectional baseball day for high school baseball today. So hopefully weather later on this evening will cooperate and get these games in. But best of luck to all of the baseball teams, and I know we've got quite a few here in our immediate listening area. You know, Division 4, we've got Eau Claire Emmanuel Lutheran in action, taking on Loyal. I know Shell Lake's also in action. Go way to the other side of Taylor County, Rib Lake's in action. You got Athens also in action. Those are just some of the Division 4 teams. Concord Fountain City also in Division 4. So Division 3, we've got St. Croix Falls is in action. We've got Fall Creek taking on Elk Mound. That should be a fun one. Stratford Marathon also in action. And then, you know, Division 2, we got Baldwin Woodville taking on Somerset. Wisconsin Del's going to be taking on Aquinas too. So, yeah, got Hudson River Falls action. Menominee taking on Stevens Point in Division 1. So, definitely got a few teams in our immediate areas or just on the brinks too that are going to be in action for sectionals today. So some of them actually, like Hudson River Falls, starting in 1 hour, 10 a.m. at Chippewa Falls. So best of luck. And I know state golf's going on too. Best of luck there. And we got state softball starting up this weekend too. Wrapping up the prep season here. Brandenburg will be joining us later on in the week though for our full-on local sports roundup brought to you by Carpet City Flooring Center. So, all right. Got 30 seconds till the shot clock kicks us off here. Fourth quarter coming up. I want to dive into, you've probably been hearing a little bit about this Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961. We'll give you a little bit of a history background and why it could potentially affect you as a sports fan. A lot of issues with the streaming and having to buy this and buy that. And is it possible for you Packers fans out there is it possible that it might be a little bit more difficult to watch some of the games for Green Bay? Packers are a little bit concerned. We'll tell you why. 3 in, 1 more to go. We'll be back after these quick news updates. Cruising on through on this Monday morning. Maybe a lot of you, not a lot of sleep after last night's Brewers game. I'm there with you too, but it was, at least they won. That's the thing. At least they won. But hey, thanks for hanging out with us all morning long as we get you updated and hopefully getting your brain juices flowing with some good conversation to get you energized and such. But here we go. Just really quick, this popped up. This Jaromir Jagr stat is still going strong, says ESPN Insights.
Wait, he's still playing?
This is the 46th consecutive Stanley Cup final where there has been a teammate of Jaromir Jagr in the series. Rasmus Andersson and Mark Jankowski are playing in the Stanley Cup final this year, and both played with. Is this like 9 Degrees of Kevin Bacon
Kind
sort of
of
thing?
Yeah.
Whatever it is with Kevin Bacon.
So that's 46 straight. Now, that I presume this is not counting the years that they didn't have a Stanley Cup because of labor issues, but that gets back to the beginning of the 80s? Mm-hmm. Or are we talking early 70s? What's the first year? Do they say?
It's a tweet.
So 46 is still a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
That's awesome.
That's going to still go for a little while yet, I imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, I guess you have to have a player in the Stanley Cup final, but the potential is there for a little while, I should say.
Yeah. We're going to talk some more baseball, Brewers-wise, coming up here in just a little bit. That was just, okay, never mind. We're going to talk a little Brewers coming up here in just a bit, but I want to lead this hour off, talk a little bit about the sports broadcasting of 1961, because why are we talking about this? Well, I was reading this from Fox 11 News. Packers continue to seek answers as congressional reports slam the NFL's broadcast model. Now, we're not going to get into the politics part of it. We're not going to do that and that. But essentially, I mean, this has been, since it is a Grind My Gears Tuesday, a lot of sports fans have grinded their gears about how to watch, view their favorite teams, their sports over the years. And now if, the NFL is maybe pressured or maybe chooses or whatever to potentially change some of their streaming ways and such, how could it affect Green Bay? Well, this from Fox 11 News said the Green Bay Packers are concerned and confused about potential changes to the Sports Broadcasting Act, which the team maintains could have devastating impacts for its long-term future. A congressional report released Monday suggests that the NFL should make changes on its own before the courts or Congress are forced to do it. The Packers credit the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961 for why it can be competitive on and off the football field. The law allows the NFL to collectively negotiate its TV deals and share the revenue. Without this law, Green Bay would be up against the likes of New York and Los Angeles to strike TV deals. That possibility is why the Packers continue to ask what Congress plans to do, as it has been reviewing the 65-year-old law for the past 10 months. Aaron Popke, Director of Public Affairs, said it's almost like there's a solution being floated out there for a problem that doesn't really exist in many respects. If this sounds a little familiar, maybe Brewers-esque, baseball-esque type of thing. Now, obviously, you're probably more well-versed into this stuff than I am and such, but is this legitimately potentially a real concern for Green Bay?
I guess it depends on how much we think we're crazed for football. Because I saw Mike Florio float the big market thing a couple weeks ago. You know how he tends to leap right to the most extreme outcome? He has logic because he's a lawyer. That's how he makes his arguments. Usually you go, okay, yeah, if this happens, is that all of these have to happen. So at first I was like, you sure about that? Interesting, but I'd never thought of that before, and now it's suddenly coming up everywhere. This notion that, I'm going to use Florio's example, but given that this has gone a lot more mainstream in the last day or so, really, the gist of it would be, if the Sports Broadcasting Act goes down, if the House Judiciary Committee. They have the hearing. This goes to the House, goes to the Senate, gets signed. It's all the usual legislative process happens. Okay, so then what the Sports Broadcasting Act allowed, which was a league to package the rights to broadcast individual team games, has an exemption from antitrust policy. That goes away. The NFL can no longer do that. You have your Sunday slate on CBS, and that's gone. Mm-hmm. So now you would have each team, like the Brewers with Fox Sports Wisconsin in the old days, stuff like that. The Yes Network for the Yankees, etc., would have their own. So you'd have Packers TV, Vikings Net. Create your own names.
Yeah.
And you'd have 32 of those potentially, however that shakes out. Well, as we've seen in baseball, under this, I guess, most extreme scenario, certain teams, say the Dallas Cowboys, could probably charge redunculous amounts of money. Just printing money with that. Cowboys TV would be the number one. We know that. Some of the other ones that you may not necessarily think, probably the Giants. You might think, Giants have sucked for a while. Notice how many Giants-Cowboys games you end up getting and how they tend to do really well in the ratings. The Giants are a big ratings
Not
guy.
by accident.
Nope. Follow the ratings on that. They would be able to charge more. There's more interest. There's more money, bigger markets, etc. I don't know that it necessarily is a one-to-one. Number one market equals this. Take Los Angeles, for example. I'm skeptical that, to a degree, the Rams, but especially the Chargers, suddenly are going to be raking in money. They have like 5 fans in Los Angeles. I'm being a little facetious, but it's not necessarily every single one. But under a quote-unquote worst-case scenario, the bigger markets can bring in more money. The smaller markets have less money. Green Bay is a freaking small market by the Big Four standards. Mm-hmm. And if it is on that scale, Green Bay withers really fast. Among other teams, like Jacksonville, probably. Think of some other lesser performing teams like the Arizona Cardinals. Mm-hmm. You're in a somewhat, not a small market, but they also I don't think they have as much of a fan base compared to other teams. Mm-hmm. So those start falling by the wayside. And eventually you have a split. Like we've discussed in college football, like we've seen happen we've had divisions in pro soccer, but we've heard of super leagues. And do we end up in a scenario, Florio didn't have a time frame in his idea, but let's say this happened later this year and Congress quick passes it. This is politics. Extremely unlikely with an election coming up. It's not happening this year. But let's say it happens next year. Even if there's a switch in power of one chamber of Congress. This doesn't seem to be a partisan thing. Mm-hmm. If you get in the weeds, you might get blah, blah, blah. By and large, it's not Democrat, Republican. You could see a scenario that, regardless of who's in control, it could get passed. So let's say 2027, House repeals it. Senate repeals it. There's no filibuster or anything. Trump signs it. Okay, now it's Sports Broadcasting Act is gone. 10 years from now, 2037, you could have a 12-team, 16-team Super NFL. Cowboys, Giants, Patriots, probably Commanders, Eagles for sure. Jets because it's New York. Yeah. Rams probably get in, the 49ers. And then there's the second tier. Maybe there's a promotion or relegation thing, so you're not locked in one way or the other. Maybe there's like one team that goes up and down, and the Packers are now fighting for the junior championship. Presuming they're the Green Bay Packers anymore, and they don't decide, screw it, we're moving to Milwaukee. Or in that scenario where the leagues are blown up, maybe the bylaws have changed enough that they're not insulated anymore. I know there's a whole lot of steps that would have to happen for the Packers to move, like a lot of steps. But what if that all gets changed? There's votes, blah, 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 blah. They're like, okay, this just isn't feasible anymore. And so the junior tier NFL leads to the St. Louis Packers. Mm-hmm. Mm. Like that is, I mean, you have to let your mind really wander on this, but I wouldn't call it impossible anymore. It's remote, but it is a slight possibility now.
So maybe I'm just generalizing this, but let me throw this out there. Is this kind of what's happening? So we're a lot of fans for the last couple of years. Oh man, Netflix game. Now I got. Is this almost the better scenario? Like, should we not complain about games being on Netflix and all that? Because this would be almost a worst case scenario.
Potentially,
you know what I'm trying to ask.
If you believe the worst case scenario, now, I don't necessarily believe that. I think the Packers actually would probably do. I'd say they'd be at a minimum in the upper half. I'm guessing. I don't know. Maybe if I looked at all the data, go, oh, no, they really are screwed. I don't think so, given the diaspora across the country. All those Packers fans that would sign on to Packers TV subscriptions across the country. Yeah, you would. Yep, yeah. Just raise your hand right there. There'd be so many of those. The NFL doesn't quite match up with the markets. I think the Steelers, Pittsburgh, you would think would not work. No, I think the Steelers would do excellent. Yeah. You can find some others. I think right now the Kansas City Chiefs, given that we're in the Mahomes and now Kelsey, Taylor Swift era, but think of broader popularity. Now, 10 years from now,
the future Kansas Chiefs.
Right. Hey, Kansas has one of the most popular teams, but it might be true. I don't know what 10 years from now brings. But I would put the Chiefs in the upper echelon. I mean, right now they're a ratings winner. Packers generally are, but again, big fan base. Side note, I don't know if you saw 506 Sports highlighted this, at least on social media, a crowdsourced project to determine the football fandom by county. Did you see that map? Go to 506 Sports, the guy that does the football maps, and look on some of his social media feeds and whatnot. Because that's where I came across it, because I don't remember the URL. But it's one, and I took it. You bring it up, shows all the counties in the country, and then you put in your fandom and your zip code, and it's trying to come up with a definitive map of the most fans by county. And you get right down to Eau Claire County. And last I checked, there were 13 Packers fans, 3 Vikings fans. I think I was one of those. And 2 Chargers fans. So apparently 2 of the 5 LA Chargers fans live in Eau Claire County. What's up? That you can see where all the green is potentially right. I'm sure if you were to sort it by team, you'd probably see a lot of Packers everywhere. Probably see a lot of Chiefs, a lot of Steelers, a lot of Cowboys, of course. So I think the Packers probably would be relatively okay. I think they have the history to go there. Obviously, I'd be more concerned if I were, like I said, a Jaguars fan, probably a Cardinals fan, a Panthers fan, maybe a Lions fan. I mean, until their run here lately, I don't know that they would be able to survive a top half. Vikings could go either way. I'm not sure. It could be a top half team. It could be a bottom half. I don't know if you were splitting it that way. The arguments being made here,
yeah, I got it right now. It's still 13-3-2.
Yeah. So there I go. Hey, hi. Yeah. But yeah, and seriously, anyone go to 506 Sports, look for their social media feeds and whatnot.
Wabasha County's got 1 vote. The Bengals.
Oh gosh. Maybe it's Tim Crumry, relative. Remembers that from Andovi. There is a Tim Crumry stat. Did you see the one from Aaron Schatz the other day? I'm going to bring that up in a little bit about how great he was in 1988.
Nobody has voted in Taylor County. Come on, Medford and Lady Smith.
Come on,
Russ
represent.
County and that.
Also, this is pretty news, so I'm not surprised that that's the case.
By the way, top 10 nationally is apparently Green Bay. So,
bingo. Exactly.
Again, not a lot of votes, but it's almost 2,000 more next to Seattle.
See, and this now the Seahawks, I kind of wonder too. There's a ton of passion out there. That's one where I'm not sure how strong nationally they are, even despite what you just pointed out there. But I think the Seahawks probably could.
Ontario got a vote for Green Bay. They're leading. So
internationally known. Yeah. So, and I can't remember who said what in this because
France. Green Bay leads.
Wow, my gosh. Okay, see, now the Packers would have to be part of this. They could be selling international
This is too fun now.
TV packages. I know, like once you go down a rabbit hole, you start looking at random counties across the country and around the world. Yeah, again, 506 Sports. Check it out, folks.
Yeah. It's actually, so the website is NFL-fan-map.versal, VERCEL.app.
Share it. That's probably better.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there or some way you'll find.
I had to go on 506 Blue Sky to see because they didn't have it on their Twitter.
Yeah,
so.
and you can find it there. There's other ways to do it in the Google, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, go in on this. This is really cool. So, but that can give you also an idea of which ones would probably do better. Mm-hmm. Now, I can't remember like which congressman, because there were a bunch that were interviewed as part of this. Wisconsin congressman. Someone, it was either them or it was someone else. I don't remember because there's a lot of quotes in the last couple of days on this. But it was pointed out, younger viewers are more used to streaming. It's native to them, for lack of a better term. 10 years from now, does it mean as much? I don't know. To be perfectly blunt, is it people like around my age, 48 and older, that grew up more with either basic cable or broadcasting that are upset about this? And the 20-somethings and the teenagers are going to be like, and what's the problem here? We'll subscribe to a bunch. We don't like it, but that's just what we do. But it's the older folks that are in Congress right now. They're the ones that make the decisions on this. So I don't know that this is going to get revoked. You could have, again, it's one of the few issues where it doesn't come down as a political thing, kind of like the daylight saving time thing. That's not political. There's some aims to make it that way, but by and large, it's not. It kind of depends on which state you're in. Same for this one, where you could see, like, I don't know, what would Tammy Baldwin and Ron Johnson try to filibuster it? Well, you've seen Tammy Baldwin always has those bills about allowing Packers games. And whatever we think about, okay, this is just a messaging bill, it doesn't mean anything. Well, wait a minute. When we get to sports broadcast, like, does this stuff get more serious? And does this get stopped? And I don't exactly know. I guess, like, would you, from everything you know, would you want this overturned? Understanding that the potential outcome could be everyone to their own.
Essentially, if I'm gathering all this right, could this affect like the revenue from what Green Bay get? Not necessarily from our viewership, a little bit, but the biggest thing that Green Bay is concerned about is the revenue that they get in. Mm-hmm. And nobody wants naming rights to Lambeau Field,
but
and I mean, wouldn't you want this current model if you don't want naming rights to Lambeau Field? What is that kind of dumbing it down to that? If you had to choose between the two, no naming rights to Lambeau, which a lot of people were in an uproar about, even though Ed Policy never really said that. He said doesn't want to go down
and
that
again,
road.
Realistically, it's something stadium at Lambeau Field. Blah 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 blah. They're not getting rid of Lambeau entirely. But
so, am I wrong for saying, okay, let's say this does happen? Naming rights to Lambeau Field become more of a realistic thing?
I think it goes even further. At this point, you can start to say, Lambeau Field was built back in 1957. Not too many venues are that old. ... Now, this is not meaning we're about to have a move to St. Louis here.
Or Hammond, Indiana.
If this really comes to fruition, I am never going to stop laughing about that. And I know there's precedent. I get it. The Jets and the Giants. I know. Come on. But I'm sorry. But these are the Bears. They still got to figure all this out. That's a tire fire down there. Could they ask for? I mean, okay. So, is it Madison or Milwaukee where would they move to halfway between Madison and Milwaukee? Try to take advantage of bigger markets? Because Madison's quite the growth area. Milwaukee's been more shaky, even though they're the bigger city. But that's clearly where there's more of a market. Would they move to, I don't know, Pewaukee? Build a stadium out there? And then build up a new title town down there? I'm throwing stuff off the wall right now, but like I don't see the Packers moving out of the state. I don't see them dissolving either. And that's where I go back to what I said at the very beginning. Football's popularity still is really strong. For the foreseeable future, it's durable. I was thinking about this with regard to the college football controversy of the last day. I mean, it is for the vast majority of us, it is just entertainment. A lot of I would say the vast majority of us don't place any bets of any sort. We don't even do like a $5 thing. We don't do any Kalshi, poly markets. We do nothing. We just watch the games. Maybe do some fantasy stuff, if that. Well, at the risk of knocking wrestling, where it's scripted, but it's still plenty popular, if you're entertained, what does it matter? If the quarterbacks are throwing games, what does it matter if you're entertained by what you see on your screen? Fine. That might be it. We might love football and maybe other sports enough, March Madness, all of that, to the degree where, sure, they're throwing games, they're not on the up and up, but wow, what a dunk, what a play, wow, what Go over to the NFL. Not that there's gambling there. You can get a lot of that the gambling out of the picture, but it's still football. We love football. Yeah, we don't like sucky football. If it's Jaguars, Cardinals on a Thursday night, that's actually not going to get great ratings. Preseason's not going to get the best of ratings. But by and large, we love to watch it. I think the money is mostly still going to be there. The fandoms are still strong. I don't know that the worst case scenario ultimately does happen. I don't know that we need to worry as much about a split and the Packers dissolving or being sentenced to being, let's presume the 18-game season, an 0-18 future under this future scenario. I guess I trust the Packers to know a lot more about how this could all go than I would. They know the numbers. We don't.
Right.
But I think it might be under a most extreme scenario, I think we'll be okay. But we got to let our minds be more open to all the possibilities. That's, I guess, the one darker thing to this.
Yeah. All right. We got to take a quick break, but let's talk some baseball. Brewers back at it tonight. We'll hit that up. Coming up after these few words. Got another late one tonight with the Crew. 9:05 first pitch. Again, you can listen to that game on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Pre-game coverage begins at 8:30. Robert Gasser on the mound for the Crew. Hopefully they got enough pitchers after last night's game. Pat Murphy, maybe kind of joking, saying, not doing batting practice today after, well, that was like playing on a Little League field last night with 11 home runs and 16 challenges, ABS too. I mean, it had a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I think it was Kurt Hogg was talking about the poor dirt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like a really hard infield too. So
yeah. I mean, it's a minor league park. Like this is not going to be with the ultimate, the new Las Vegas stadium, which by the way is well under construction. Looks. I don't know if you've seen the latest updates, but yeah, like the roof is starting to go on, the arch. I imagine that will be way better than what they have at the minor league facility. Understandably so. But okay, that should be an interesting game too.
It should be.
Bouncy, bounce.
Yeah. So we'll. That gave me flashbacks of Little League and stuff, playing on some hard infields and all that good stuff. But it's like you go to a stadium and you still only hit 4 home runs when the other team hits 7 for credit. But
you got a home run. You got a home run.
Everybody got a home run last night.
Okay.
It felt like so. But it's temporary. I don't know if this is going to be like a Las Vegas thing in general, like when the A Stadium moves or opens
that's the
up,
thing, because it's going to have enclosure because like you're not going to have summer baseball in the sun in Las Vegas. Are you suicidal doing that? Come on. See, there's a roof. You've seen the schematics on this and the renderings and such. So the field's going to be in much better shape. That one will be for major league level stuff. So yeah, I have full confidence it'll be normal once that happens. Plus, of course, the Brewers aren't going to be playing the A's all that much anyway,
right?
Because they're different leagues. Well, for now, until there's possible, But yeah, it'll be much better in that new stadium when it opens in a couple of years, I think.
Yeah. But if you like your offense for baseball, you were obviously treated last night. So a couple touchdowns scored and a 2-point conversion to make the difference.
Packers beat the Raiders on a 1-2-point conversion and one that failed. Essentially, what happened last night.
But, Brewers moving to 41 wins, 41 and 23 on the season, still chasing those Braves and Dodgers, though. So,
Kyle Harrison's Cy Young run
took a little hit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Someone was saying last night in one of my feeds, like, yep, it's done. I'm like, well, I mean, it's May, too. Like, you have games.
Well, it's June, actually.
Sorry. It's one of those months.
It's one of those months.
Early enough.
We're not even halfway through the season.
Let's give it more time. It didn't help, but also you might be able to run the extenuating circumstances thing. Still, he's the dark horse. I'd be more concerned if Mizorowski had a very bad night and had an injury or something.
I almost wanted to see now Mizorowski pitch in that stadium to see if
Do we want to?
Well, that's the thing is like, okay, then maybe hitters could actually, but I mean, how much good contact? But you did have the one ball was like just 90 miles an hour off the bat. The one home run that everybody thought was like a Jeff Levering on the radio call was like, oh yeah, pop up to right field, and Ashby was like walking off, Contreras scary walk off, and nope, home run.
Oh, wait a minute. Yep. So yeah, I mean it screws up everything a little bit. It'll be different in a more climate controlled facility in Vegas compared to outdoor baseball.
I'm curious to see how these next 2 games go, though, and just like how.
What are the game times?
9:05 and 8:05.
Okay, so still, of course, at night.
Yeah, but like, can you imagine if there was more games playing at stadium and just like the statistics that potentially that everything?
It'd be Coors Field plus.
Oh yeah. I mean, it made Coors Field look like a pitching park for crying out loud.
Yeah, it's not realistic to have Major League Baseball in Las Vegas. Of course you have minor league. Duh, that's what we're talking about right there. But to the major league level, you got to be a little bit more concerned about stuff like that. You're going to have more climate control for the fans, but also to regulate the standards, I guess, by major league standards. I mean, you don't want carbon copies of every single stadium, but if you want some Vegas flavor, provided in other ways other than the temperatures and the lack of humidity. That's going to be a thing like we saw last night.
Speaking of, since we were talking about some broadcast session, I know we're a little behind. We got to take another break here coming up. But we mentioned a little bit earlier the Trust Club that's coming to American Family Field. Did you hear about this?
Yes, I did.
So adding another row of seats, but making it more luxurious seats too. First 6 rows behind home plate, but an exclusive club for those who are sitting in those seats. I was wondering what that construction was when I was at the game.
Now you know.
Now I know. So it's the interesting part of it too. I guess I didn't realize was they said every stadium besides the A's, but that'll change, had those type of like first 6 row seats from dugout to dugout.
Because it's been a gradual thing, but it's also like you see it all the time because it's the
one that always comes to my mind is Yankees.
Yeah.
For whatever, because there's so many that's empty because it's so expensive.
Well, that's one of my thoughts. Like, oh, so that's cool. Now you get to see a bunch of empty padded seats behind home plate at American Family Field. Awesome. Kurt Hogg, also from the Journal Sentinel, said, so you may have seen him talk about this too on social media, that Brewers been saying, hey, folks that have season tickets behind home plate, we need to have a conversation. Then this comes out. And you're going to have to spend way more money to keep your seat, or you will have to move somewhere else besides right behind home plate.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to make more money off of this, and there's really nothing that these folks can do. They can complain about it, and end of story right there, I guess. But I guess it depends on what those fans also say. I mean, they might be like, fine, or we'll pay more. I don't know. Maybe they have enough wherewithal or something. This kind of seems to be of a piece of like money everywhere. Like yesterday, it sort of crystallized between that news. Not saying the Trust Club entirely is bad, but I saw that nugget there. Between that, the NCAA gambling thing, more money, get your bag. I've seen the comparisons of watching an NBA Finals game in Madison Square Garden from 99 to 26, and how much more money is involved. It's all money. It's like, well, duh, money's been a part of sports forever. Yes, but like yesterday just sort of seemed to be one of those days where you're like, yeah, if you're not freaking wealthy, good luck having it. It's like all that right now. It's kind of annoying. That being said, this concept does seem kind of interesting that it's outside as opposed to, as they said, kind of dank and underneath well, not dank, because that would mean it's it's like a bad basement from the 60s. No, instead of being sheltered underneath, you don't see anything. I like the idea of this Trust Club being built with green brick.
Yeah.
On what would be, if you're looking on a map, it'd be the southwest side, so outside of right field along the first base side, and that area is where it's being built. And that it's what they said. You walk 60 seconds and you'll get to your seat. So 375 seats, an additional row. They said, could this make a difference at the warning track? I mean, maybe a little bit.
They said 3 to 4 feet. They did the studies on.
Yeah, so. Analytically, it's not going to make that much of a difference. And again, everyone else has done it. It's been so gradual, and it's not. I mean, you hear about those additions, but it's not a huge thing. And then, I was like, oh, that's right. They're one of 2 that's left that hasn't done something like that. So that'll change in 2027, I guess. And yeah, I still haven't. I guess of course, there's a way to get into the swanky areas if you really want to. You can either you get a connection or something, or you just pay for it.
Yeah,
I haven't been to the one at Target Field yet. I'd kind of like to, but I haven't yet.
I'll be honest. And I'm not trying to sound, head in the clouds or what. I was a little surprised at the pricing. I thought it would be more per game.
Probably because it's Milwaukee. Again, it's kind of back to what we're talking about with the Packers. Like,
it's $245 per game, but that includes your ticket, your parking, and food and beverage, both inside the club and at the seats.
How much does it cost? You might have to do the math on the top of your head. How much does it cost for you individually, everything, including parking, average ticket?
Yeah, parking, it depends, like if you get it before or day of, because day of it goes up. So,
right.
I mean, let's say $25
okay.
for parking.
Ticket price for and your average ticket is probably, what is it right now?
A lot depends on a game. But,
right.
But we're talking the first 6 rows, though, too.
Right,
so let's say $150 a ticket.
So right now, and you're already pushing 200 before this.
And then you get your food and beverages,
Yeah.
which we know is already expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, if Luke's there, he's taking advantage of the food part of it.
course
So,
I am.
and why wouldn't anybody do that?
Side note, I opened up my secret stadium sauce that I bought over the winter. Finally
Nice.
did my first grilling of the season the other day with
Finally.
Finally, yes,
man.
yes. It took a little while to get there. We got there. Polish sausage, baklars from La Crosse.
Nice.
And it was a very delicious dinner on Sunday night with the secret stadium sauce. It's not that, I guess if you look at it that way, it's not that much more. Then again, it's the difference between the season ticket and the whole package. And that's why there's, I think, the sticker shock that's going to come with this for the season ticket holders. Again, I don't know those folks back there or back behind home plate in those rows that are going to get blown out.
So I brought up the Phillies game. There's 4 tickets, row 4, like right behind home plate, $1.90 a piece. So, I mean, you add that plus your parking and then beverage. I think
it
that's
might be a bit of a
fairly
wash.
reasonable.
Yeah, again, the difference between season tickets, that's just the ticket.
Yep.
Versus this is the entire package, the valet parking. There's one of those conceptual images that shows the valet sign right outside of that. So you're getting more for that. It's going to cost more, and a lot of the people there, I would imagine, I don't know, but I would imagine a lot of them probably do have the wherewithal to spend more for that. We'll probably get a couple stories of longtime season ticket holders had Brewers tickets since 1975, and now they're being priced out. Well, that actually does suck. I don't want to diminish that. If that happens, I'd like to think the Brewers would find something to do. They did say they're going to discuss with these season ticket holders, so I can't imagine someone's going to be like, sorry, euchre seats.
Yeah.
You're bad. But more revenue. Of course, you saw. I don't know if you saw a lot of the social media comments. They're like, okay, cool. So now we're going to spend money to get a player for the playoffs, right? Right.
Right.
Well, we'll see.
Okay, we got to take a quick break. Back with plenty more, though, coming up after these few words. You getting all geeked up for your World Cup starting here in a couple days, days?
I think I'll be a lot more in it once it really gets going because I'm like, okay, when is this starting to keep? Because all the World Cup talk, not all, but the vast majority is FIFA screws this up, ticket price. I'd like to see actual games. Once the games really get going, I'll definitely be in. So not yet, but when it starts, yes, I will definitely be all in on this. It'll be pretty cool.
Who's the favorite again?
I mean, it's not Italy. Gosh, I think what, Germany, I think.
Okay.
Let's check. What are the World Cup odds right now? Currently, Spain and France, followed by England.
All right.
No surprise. I was going to say France probably. I mean, England's usually a regular. Yeah, Spain, of course. What am I thinking? So there you go. So your usual suspects.
How big of an upset would it be if USA won? Put it in sports. I was going to say normal sports, but
are you doing the?
Put it in. Explain this to me like I'm 5. To quote
it's like
Michael
on
Scott from The
Instagram.
Office.
Like, what is it? NFL comp, please, or what? You know what I'm talking about when someone does something on another sport and then they immediately deride it by saying,
this is the Patrick Mahomes version, or
yeah. What's that? Like, okay. That would be the kind of the equivalent of this year's Pittsburgh Pirates, maybe winning the World Series this year's. Well, really about any Pittsburgh Pirates team in the current nature of Major League Baseball winning it all.
Okay, so it's possible.
It's conceivable, but extraordinarily unlikely. A whole lot has to go right.
I think I might watch more of it this year because there's a Packers connection to it. Antonio Freeman's kid is on Team USA.
Right.
So there you go.
Yes. I mean, Team USA should do better because of the home team, and that almost always happens inherently, where the home team does better. We see that in the Olympics. We see that happen in the World Cup. Team USA should do better. Oh my gosh, the follow-up if they get bounced after the first round. Oh my gosh, it's on the table, unfortunately. But we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, my rooting interests usually obviously Team USA, Team England, because I mean English and soccer. It's one of those like okay, it makes sense. And I've always been a bit of an Anglophile. If Norway's ever in it, of course, I'm always going to root for Norway, but that's heritage right there. I'm half Norwegian. So do you have any rooting interests besides Team USA?
I probably should pick one.
Yeah, probably a safer bet so you have some interest going further along.
I'll do some research and see what fits my morals.
I mean, that's a bit of a thing. Now,
besides Team USA.
Right. Now, do you want to have I've thought about this sometimes if I'm like, ooh, I should have a favorite team in a different league or something. I go, hang on a sec. Do you want to root for a team? Because then you ride the highs and the lows. Or would you rather sit back and go, nope, I'm just going to be a fan of the sport. I'm going to be a fan of the league or the tournament. That way you can enjoy everything for what it is.
That's the easy answer, but then I'll follow up by this. Who's the team that nobody likes to – like it's the Patriots of Brady and Belichick. It's the Warriors. It's the Yankees. It's the Dodgers. Is there a team like that? Because I don't want to be a part of that.
See, I can think of that probably more for pro soccer.
Okay.
Like you probably don't want to be a front runner. So I'm thinking like in Premier League, you probably don't want to default to Liverpool or Manchester City. Well, Man City, you probably don't want to because it's like, hey, well, ... Continue that discussion off the air. That would be one of those front runner teams you probably don't want to go with. I mean, you could probably make a case for England, but they seem to hate themselves a whole lot. So
I hate myself sometimes.
Yeah, so maybe that's
okay.
I'm sure there's a website out there is like decide which World Cup team should be.
It's
your
one of those
favorite.
quizzes.
Yeah, and try to match it based on your
you're this Harry Potter character or whatever.
Something like that based on prior performance. I mean, Spain does pretty well. France does pretty well. Germany does pretty well. Yes. We. Yeah, I can't wait for people to start being like, yes, We've done so great. Yeah, What, are you Spanish now? No, you're not. You're just rooting for Spain.
I was just saying the French word we.
We. Yes, we. Like I like France because I took French in high school. I always kind of like the French language. I mean, if England won it, that would be a story. Great as they historically are, they can never get over the hump and actually win it. England kind of is to soccer and the World Cup what the Toronto Maple Leafs are to the Stanley Cup.
Gotcha.
You would think they would have done a whole lot better, and yet they haven't won a Stanley Cup since the 60s. That's your comp right there.
All right, we got to take a quick break, and then we got to run through some picks here. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes. All right, let's fly through some picks here. First off, Game 4, Stanley Cup. Who you got?
This seems like such a...
I said fly through.
I'm gonna go Carolina.
I'll go Carolina, too, to even it up.
Yeah.
Seattle, Baltimore. We're going baseball now.
Baseball. I will go with the Orioles.
Seattle. Arizona, Miami.
Diamondbacks.
Boston, Tampa.
Rays.
I'll go Tampa. Dodgers, Pirates. Paul Skeens versus Eric Lauer.
Eric Lauer. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll go Pirates.
I'm going to go Pirates, too. Twinnies, Tigers.
I'll take the Twins.
I'm going to go Twins, too. Yankees, Guardians.
Guardians.
I'll go Guardians. Actually, no, I'm going to go Yankees. Garrett Cole's on the mound. So, Philadelphia, Toronto.
Phillies.
I'll go Philly. St. Louis, Mets.
Cardinals.
Atlanta, Chicago.
Atlanta.
White Sox, I should say.
Still, I would take the Braves.
Braves. Texas, Kansas City.
Maybe Casey's getting over the hump a little bit. They've been cold so far, but I'll go with the Royals.
I'll go Royals. Cubs, Rockies.
I'll go with the Rockies. Why not?
Rockies. Houston, Astros. Houston Astros. Duh. Houston Angels.
Intra squad game. Yeah. I'll go with Houston.
Reds, Padres.
Padres.
Washington and the Giants.
No, kind of hot Washington Nationals. Yeah. I'll take the Nats.
I'll go Nationals. And then finally, Brewers versus Athletics. Robert Gasser, JT Ginn.
Okay. I'll take the Brewers over-under on home runs between the two teams, setting it at 9.5.
I'll go under.
I'll take the under, but it's going to get uncomfortably close.
The funny thing is that on Friday's show, we set a line of 3.5 for the whole weekend against the Rockies for the Brewers. And they beat that in one game for this last night. So,
right, there you go. So, it was Vegas apparently was the place to go for that.
Yeah, no doubt. So, all right, that's your picks here for this morning. By the way, I took a test. It says I should be Mexico. Yours was what?
I was Haiti.
Haiti.
Interesting.
Okay.
Sure, I'll move for Haiti. By the way, what do you think of the Wolves and Rockets kind of throwback mashups? Yep, I like both.
Yep, I like the tree in the thing.
Trees are back.
Spam numbers, yep. But
you get the mustard back with the Rockets.
Yep. I like it.
So yeah,
goes back to the good old days.
NBA will look a little better next year.
I would agree. Yeah. I would agree. All right, have a good rest of your day. Same place, same time tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. from the TDS Sports Talk Studios. We'll talk to you then.